Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love. Today, another special guest, this time from the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Thomas to be exact. We have VASI Therese Rose Lopez. Amazing figure, amazing energy worker, fantastic for mantras, mudras, and helping you slow down the mind long enough to get going with respect to your life situations, finding that inner peace, that inner calm. We're going to talk more about our background. First, I just want to welcome VASI to the show.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm honored to be here, and it's wonderful to see you again.
And thank you very much again for being on the show. I don't know if guests appreciate your background and what you have to offer for all of us. So I am so excited to have you on today. And I am so excited it's not hurricane season yet. So you have power. We're not hiding or rescheduling from the next tropical storm, and hopefully none this year for the island. But thank you for being here. Let me just mention a little bit about like the website. A lot of Americans these days, I know we're not supposed to be looking at our iPhone in the middle of watching TV or not even watching TV at all in the first place. Not that it's bad, but I'm just saying, I'm going to give your website out first, and it's saiomcreations.com. S-A-I as in Sai Baba, Om, A-U-M as in Om, creations.com, and your email address, even for the littlest question, you're, I think, very receptive to people reaching out. It's saiomcreations1008@gmail.com. So you've spent a lot of time in India. You've spent a lot of time training. You're a Reiki master. You're an energy therapist, or energy work therapist, as you would say it, a master teacher of magnified healing, and a Sai Shakti healer and teacher of divine channels. We're going to get into a lot of things today, a lot of things even with an India background, but also just generic or specific other types of modalities of healing. And again, I'm just so excited to have you on the show because I've known you now, it feels like for a couple of years, and I just absolutely appreciate the time that I get to spend with you.
I do as well. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a couple years, and I have Shirdi Baba to thank for bringing us together, which was really a cosmic connection. So I'm really grateful for that.
And Shirdi Sai Baba is a figure from, I'm going to have to guess here, but I think he passed around 1917, 1914. 1918. And fantastic, tight with angels. You don't have to be from India to appreciate this gentleman. He has moved, winked, smiled, shoulder wobbled, moved his hands in this photo. No problem. You can ask for an incense smell, put your hand out and just feel the vibe off this photo through two screens. Even if you're watching this episode in 2026, time and space don't affect things quite the way you think they do. It's not about thinking. So also Sri Kaleshwar, we're going to hear a lot about him. I am just so excited. We had Alan Steinfeld on last week, and Alan had taped on YouTube, which you'll find on my fun video YouTube list on my channel, at Michael Andre Ford. You're going to find part one, part two of his interview in around 2004 with Sri Kaleshwar. And Sri Kaleshwar officiated at Alan Steinfeld's wedding. So marrying,
I saw that photo.
Yeah, and I forgot her first name. She's since passed, but she was wonderful. She was very, she was the one that helped push getting Sri Kaleshwar more publicity, more exposure, getting him, filmed so that we could all appreciate him years later. Okay, first, before we get started here, this is the every fifth episode we ask the question, do angels exist? But today, VASI, in St. Thomas, we're going to ask you, do angels exist? Do miracles exist? What's your answer? What do you have for us?
Yes, they definitely do. And I've had experiences with them before Swami and after Swami with his teachings and, working at the ashram. Many magical things happen there. One thing I'd like to do is to bring his energy in even more if I could. Usually before we start a process, any kind of meditation, we play what's called the opening mantras. And it's his voice. He's recorded all of these for us. So I just want to bring that energy to the audience as well and to share the energy of our divine lineage, because it's not me doing this. It's the divine working through me, as it is with all of us. But it's a good reminder to put our ego aside and just allow the divine to flow. So I'm going to play those by him right now. It'll take about a minute. Guru Brahma
Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat, Parabrahman, Tasmai Shri, Gurave Namaha. Om Suklam Paradaram Vishnu Seshivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadhanam Dhyaye Sarva Vignopashantaye. Om Bhurvasvaha Tassavithurvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat.
So if many people probably don't know those mantras, but they're the introductory mantras before even starting meditation, just to bring in the energy of the guru, which in our case would be Swami, and then his guru, Shirdi Baba, and all the gurus in the lineage. Our lineage is a divine lineage of intention, which includes Jesus, Buddha, Mother Mary, many, many other saints, Veda Vyasa, from all different backgrounds and places in the world. And so we're welcoming their energy. Guru actually means to dispel the darkness. And so we're asking that light to come into our soul before we start anything. And the second mantra that we heard was the Ganesh mantra. Ganesh is the son of Mother Divine, the remover of obstacles, a very powerful force to help combat our ego and to keep us on track for our spiritual progress. Yes, beautiful. And then the third mantra was the Gayatri. It is the most powerful prayer in the world. It has been measured on a frequency level to have the highest vibration of any prayer. And it is really wonderful when you're using it with the elements like the fire and the water to help burn karmas, remove negativity. It's like having a cobra release its snake skin. It's like taking the illusion off from around your soul. It's very, very powerful. So we use those three whenever we start anything. So as far as angels and miracles, I witnessed quite a few. When I was younger, I would sense angels around me, and I would have, I'd say, experiences or visuals of my past lives, which I knew what it was, but I didn't have anywhere to go with it because my parents didn't believe any of it. I could say something, but it was just kind of put aside. But I do have very special memories of seeing past lives of mine, of having angels around me, protecting me, and just keeping me where I was supposed to be, let's say. If I happened to want to wander, I was put back on the right track. As a child, that can be very helpful. But angels at the ashram, yes, definitely. There were many angels. At this point in time, when I first saw them, there were some birds in the trees when Swami was alive, and they would swoosh from tree to tree. They would just move so quickly. You could see like the flash of light of all of them together. And later on, years later, I was told that those were actually angels, and they had just taken the form of birds to be there protecting him. But it was amazing, the energy at the ashram when he was alive. It was just so, so profound. And I love going back there because he, of course, is still there, and so is Shirdi Baba. Jesus energy is there, Buddha, all the big saints, and that is the birthplace of Mother Divine as well at the ashram. I sent you one picture. I don't know if you have it, but it was all the different orbs at the one process. It was the Chandra process. It was like thick, like a wall of orbs. There's so many angels around him for his protection, to help give healing to people there. So it was an amazing experience to see all that, and to have a photo of it as well, to look back and see how beautiful it really was.
That was an incredible photo. I will try to find that actually on my iPad and maybe be able to put that up shortly. Can you just explain for folks Sri Kaleshwar, a little bit more about his background. He's contemporary and just passed away. Again, I'm going to get this offer on 2012
Yes,
when he was
2012.
43.
He was, I think he was 37.
37. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
he
but
was
he
younger.
knew he was going to go when he was young.
Yeah, he did. He knew he would go at some point in time, and he often told the students about it, because a lot of people would get attached to him because he was so magnetic and dynamic, very high charged
A
energy.
lot of people are like almost
Oh.
everybody.
A lot of
So,
people, a lot of the
yeah.
even the students, and he kept telling them, don't get attached to me because someday I won't be here with you. But my samadhi is going to be here, and that will be the energy that is giving you the healings and giving you information, and that's how you will get to know me even more after my quote unquote death. So, in India, they don't really say death; they say samadhi because
Yeah, and
samadhi is when the saint leaves their body, but like their bones and maybe what the clothes they wore. There is one power object in his samadhi, like or grave, that is there as like a radio transmitter. It's transmitting energy and giving answers to students and giving healings. And so he's even more alive now than he was when he was alive. His energy is still helping people, answering questions, showing miracles, just like Shirdi Baba. Once they pass out of the body, they have so much more energy and capability of working within this third dimensional reality or illusion as it really is. Yes.
I describe him as love on an Indian breeze.
I know. I love that.
Very gentle. And there's a Hawaiian Kapuna Auntie Margaret that I describe as love on a Hawaiian breeze. So I think I've got something going here. But tell us a little bit more for Sri Kaleshwar when he was growing up. For example, this story's been told a lot, but his parents were more like, hey, you need to get going on studies. You need to go down the more societal track. We've got plans for you. And instead, he was extremely pious, meditating a lot. His dad at one point came up to kind of tell him, hey, back on track. And he was going to really put the kibosh on him. And that's when the Divine Mother's companion, the tiger, showed up, if I've heard it correctly.
Yes, you have heard it correctly. The tiger really defended Swami and kept his dad from getting onto him because she knew his purpose. And he did come into the world to share about Mother Divine. A lot of people know the Divine Father, whether it's, called God, or some people refer to Jesus as the Father, but there's a Divine Mother as well. It's Shiva, Shakti. There's both. Mm. So Sri Kaleshwar grew up in southern India in Panakonda. He was born in 1973. And he was a typical boy. He liked to be out in nature, riding his bike, playing with his friends. And so just growing up with a family of, I think, 4 more siblings, he wasn't really interested in spirituality and didn't have any clue about it until one day he was studying for a mathematics examination, and he went to a dilapidated temple just because it was quiet. He could take his time, look at his notes, and try to get more studies in. And while he was there, he saw an old man with a beard who showed up and was watching him like for 4 days in a row. And on the last day that Swami was there studying, the old man approached him and said, "I know about you. I've been waiting for you." And Swami was like, "What are you talking about? I don't even know you." So it was Shirdi Baba who, even though he passed in 1918, had appeared to Swami because Swami had such a powerful divine mission. And that's when he was 14 years old, studying for that examination at the temple. Baba appeared to him and he gave him some food to eat from his begging bowl, which is something he did a lot when he lived in Shirdi. He would go to homes and beg from people. So he gave Swami a really divine meal right then and there, and it hooked him. It just brought him in. It opened his divine channels as well. And Baba left him his stick at that point in time. And he brought home the stick, showed his mother, and she said, "No, this isn't real. You're not really saying the truth." And he got really upset, of course. But his parents, had a hard time with it, because all the other kids were just like regular children, and he was very, very different as far as his dharma and what he set out to do in the world. So, yeah, like you said, he was meditating one day upstairs in his room, feeling very connected, and his father went in to say, "You better start studying now or else." and the tiger really gave his father a scare. That's amazing that that even happened, but there's a reason, there's a purpose for all of that. And Swami had a hard time, he would rather meditate than study. But when he was in college, he would just do like simple healings for people, and word spread about him that he was a healer, and people just started showing up at his doorstep with coconuts and incense and asking him for healings. And his reputation kept growing that way until eventually in 1993, when he was 20 years old, he decided to build an ashram. He was given a visual in his, I don't know if it was his meditation or in dream time, but like a star fell down close to the mountain where he was supposed to build the ashram.
Mm.
And that's where Penakonda is.
Mm.
Penakonda means little mountain or small mountain. And it is like a small mountain in that area of India, which was very much desert and dry. And he built it all up. He irrigated it. It's beautiful now. It's really lush. And that was a miracle too, just getting all that together and putting his energy into building a place where he could instruct the Western students from all other parts of the world, and some Indian students too.
In the YouTube two-part, I think it's 26 minutes and roughly 26 minutes for part 2. Again, anybody on the YouTube channel at Michael Andre Ford can just go to the fun video list. You might have to go down to the playlist section. You'll see ocean waves lapping back and forth for 8 hours for tranquility purposes, meditative purposes. You'll see some other clips in there, but in there is very clearly Sri Kaleshwar being interviewed by Alan Steinfeld. And at one point, Alan, and this is a much younger Alan, doing a fantastic job of interviewing. And Sri Kaleshwar, though, not fending him off. They're very Western questions at times. And Sri Kaleshwar is in his center, just talking love, 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 love. The topic gets to his parents. And would he do it again in terms of showing them any miracle? It's not that he necessarily did the tiger showing up, but he had a different perspective. He was very much like, hey, just let them be. Their consciousness levels where it's at. I wouldn't want to interfere or cause harm. And I thought that was very beautiful to respect, there's just many levels of awareness and compassion on the earth, and you can't force anything on anyone else. It's actually the reason for all of our paths to be so full of contrast, opportunity for love and growth. And it's so much more of a gift when you allow people to do their own growth.
Yeah, you need to let them do that. We each have our own path, our own soul journey, which is chosen by us before we incarnate. And he would always say, even if your parents give you a hard time, if they were very strong in their discipline with you, you really need to love them because they brought you into this world. They're your first gods. Anytime before we start a fire puja, he suggests, thank your parents. Before you go to sleep, do the same thing. When you wake up, think about your parents all the time because they brought you into this world. They've given you the life so that you can resolve your karma and make new dharma.
I'm sure a lot of American parents are wishing that they could have that going on. Tell us a little bit more about a puja, because this is some of the terminology I was really hoping the audience could get exposed to. And puja is it's a fire ceremony. Talk to us about the puja.
Yeah, fire puja is something that's been going on for thousands and thousands of years. And in certain places, they've been going on for that long still. Like in Penakonda, Swami has his dhuni. Dhuni is the fire pit where you keep the fire burning. In Penakonda, it's still going on since Swami ever started it when he began his ashram. In Shirdi, it's also being kept up because Baba kept it when he was alive to burn the people's karmas. And now that the Shirdi Sai Trust is keeping it going. And they continue to make dhuni ash, which is a huge blessing for people. A fire puja is a ceremony that Swami has given us to honor Divine Mother in all of her aspects. We do fire pujas for the full moon and the new moon. So, twice a month at least, depending how many moons there are. It's a way to connect with her and also to help burn our karmas. It's one of the fast track ways of really getting rid of negativity and bringing in blessings. And fire pujas are so important. They're mentioned in the very beginning of the VEDAS, which is a sacred book in the Indian tradition. And so they've been used for so many years. They used to be used for protection of the kingdom, for bringing in the rain, for preventing a disease from entering a village. And there still can be used for those things, you know, that's really good for bringing success in your life, whether it's physical healing for yourself or success in your business, with partners. There's so many things a fire puja can do. And it's really a nice gathering for people. People enjoy it. If they're not part of the lineage, they're still welcome to come. And a lot of people say that after the puja, they just feel different. They feel better. They don't know what happened, but they just feel like lighter. And it will do that to you because you're looking at the flames. And when you do that, it helps to burn the illusion that you might bring in eyes. So the puja is really powerful. You know, of course, fire burns anything to complete ash. And spiritually, on a soul level, it will do that with whatever it is we're asking to be removed from our lives. You know, help us to maintain a decent energy level, trying to be positive, reduce our ego, raise our soul capacity, bring us to a place of more balance in everything. And so it's a ceremony that Swami has given to keep going as much as we can. And there are many centers of Swami students around the world who burn the pujas every moon. And in California, they do it especially on the summer solstice, which is coming up. It's a 26-hour puja. So that's huge.
You mentioned California. Is it a spinoff from Penakunda in India? And is it the Penakunda school in California or somebody else?
It's Laytonville. It's up in Northern California in Laytonville. Two of his senior student teachers are there running the center. It's called the Divine Mother Center in Laytonville. And Swami has a lot of his energy there in statues. Baba as well has his energy there. There's a huge Hanuman, which is protecting the place. Ganesh. It's a really highly developed center. That land has a lot of potent energy. Swami walked there a lot, just like he did in Penakunda. And anytime saints walk on the earth, it leaves a lot of energy, and then the earth amplifies that energy. So it just continues to grow.
Interesting. And so the Alan Steinfeld video, to keep mentioning that, I've thanked him like a dozen times. I don't think he understood the first 8 thank yous, how profoundly I was thanking him, because he is so sweet, so gentle. Alan Steinfeld too. Sri Kaleshwar I'm talking about is so just in his heart and keeps things short and sweet. So you can be American and not necessarily into other cultures or other philosophies or other religions or other protocols, so to speak. But I think anyone can appreciate simply the simplicity and the heartfelt energy level that you get with Sri Kaleshwar. But one of the things too, he had mentioned, I'm trying to think what it was. Well, we'll get back to it. But I know Alan was asking a lot of pressing questions, and I know John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, had been studying under Sri Kaleshwar and hanging out with a magician, a really well-known magician back in the States. So he was used to some of the sleights of hand, and he was there to tell us in the video that when Sri Kaleshwar took a flower petal in his palm, or put it in your palm, and you closed it and opened it, stuff would happen. And John Gray, who's a pretty famous, I mean, he's still doing the circuit for podcasts and shows today, a little bit older, is here to tell you it was nothing hidden in the sleeve, nothing like that. It was legit transmutation, whatever you call it, transformation of the flower petal into something else. Do you want to tell us? I know that's not the point of the exercise. It's really just being here, love, allowing the universe, allowing what is in and around you already that's love, the positive side of life, to grow. But could you share with us a little about what that was all about?
Well, Sri Kaleshwar would make little miracles happen. He called them giving people chocolates, because it would really open people's eyes to what's going on beyond what we can just see. And it would also, give them more faith in their heart that miracles can happen, things can happen. So many times he could manifest in his hand like a little jewel and give it to somebody as a thank you for helping them, thank you for all your hard work. Sometimes he would work with the power objects we have at the ashram, the statues, whether it was the Jesus statue or the Baba statue, and they would produce either beautiful angelic stones, little crystals, or they would be a round stone called a lingam. and they would come out of the statues.
Hmm.
And he had a connection, so he was able to bring that energy forward. My one miracle story was seeing vibhuti, which is ash, like the duni ash, come out of his hand in one of the ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting it. I was just watching him. He was feeding ghee to the fire, and I saw all of a sudden this ash just shoot out his hand. I was like, wow, that was my big miracle. And that was early on when I started. I started with him in 2007. Some teachers of his from the ashram came on island, and they were just giving talks to people to let them know what they've been doing. They brought some power objects with them, and they spoke to us. And I had already been involved in energy work and other healing modalities, and this just it just grabbed me. Something about it felt so right. It felt like a comfort to my soul, and so I went with it. I dropped everything else, which Swami has asked us to do. If you're doing Reiki or doing any other kind of healing, which is totally valid and good, but you're coming to be on these channels with me, then you really need to let go of everything else. Because, as he said, when you take one step toward me, I'll take 99 steps toward you. He wanted a real true commitment because he was very committed to helping souls to move forward. And so he just really wanted people to be dedicated and devoted. And it's worth it, believe me. Spirituality is not an easy path. It's not easy just trying to change who you are. A lot of people are comfortable with the way they are and want to keep living with their ego and not develop their soul. So it's been a blessing for me because I really have changed a lot in more ways than I thought I would. And sometimes it's subtle and sometimes it's a little more noticeable, but it really is a strong presence that keeps me going. And I just really look forward to sharing more of this with other people.
What's very fun for the audience or just people out there, again, everyone's where they are for their level of awareness, consciousness, it's all good how it is. Anytime any person wishes, they can expand more, connect to more love, share more love. I love the mantra, show love always. Good luck with that because we have to pay bills. We've got to yell at our kids. We've got to go out for a walk and we don't have any time. But what I was going to say is skepticism too, or just resistance is also actually very healthy. It's going to happen. So if someone out there witnesses a miracle or just like in a little while, we'll blow some sage from, where am I? San Antonio, Texas to the Caribbean, to St. Thomas, to you in Charlotte Amalie, that outside area. And if you have a reaction of like, that can't be it, there's no way I could smell it. Even if you're watching this 5 years from now, it's 2023. So 2028, what is beautiful is every opportunity is an opportunity to go here and to connect to all there is. But every opportunity too, if you have resistance up here, that's beautiful. You just spotted it at least. You're controlling ego, your ego that says structure first. There's no way, Jose, not possible. I'm not letting go to smell that sage. I don't have to do this, There's 4 million ways not to. And there are still a million ways to get into your heart. So this is the beauty about the choice in each moment. Take us through, if you could, I believe it's the 5 elements. I'm going to totally get this wrong. It could be 4 elements, but I thought it was 5.
It's 5.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have anything memorized, so I always wing it, and it doesn't do me much service, but at least it keeps me here. 5 elements. Talk to us about, wasn't that part of, or a big part or mainstay of his teachings?
It's the foundation class when you start with him, is to go through and charge the 5 elements mantras. Mantras are a series of words that really connect with a certain energy. And it's not important to know what the mantra means because that's your mind getting in the way and saying, well, what does it mean? Asking about it. It's for your soul. Mantras are for your soul. Yantras are for your soul. It's to remind your soul of your divinity, to connect you with who you really are. We're not like this flesh, this identity. We're much more of a light within this physical vessel. So he would recommend 5 elements definitely for people to charge. The elements are the earth, the fire, the sky, the water, and the air. And each of those elements, of course, are around us. We can see all of that, but we as well are made up of the same 5 elements. We have flesh, we have our burning spaces, We have the area around us, which would be like our sky. We have water. We're mostly water, thankfully, and there's air too, the mind elements. And so to charge the 5 elements, you're going to purify those elements within your physical vessel. You're going to just take all of that energy and purify it. And a lot of people have blocks in each of those areas. A lot of people in the earth elements. And so this is really just to get you on the path, to get you used to meditating, to charging a mantra, to being really consistent, and to purify your soul so he can work with you better. You know, not only was there the 5 elements mantras, but also usually a certain discipline of trying to be vegetarian, because it's easier for him to work with our souls when we don't eat meat or eggs, things like that. That could just weigh us down. It incurs more karma. So yeah, the 5 elements was really a powerful process. I've gone back and I've done it again. I've done it twice now, and I get more. Even the second time I've done it, I've gotten more deep. Because when you know, I've been doing this since 2007. As you're going through the processes and your soul is developing, you're at a different point in time. You're in a different place in your travel, your soul journey, where doing something again or reading a material again, you'll get a lot more from it. You get a deeper understanding. And so a lot of us, we repeat processes now and again, and we read something over and over, because he said especially his quotes and his words, there's so much depth meaning. There's like layers and layers of meaning. It's really important to get that out and to try to understand it on a soul level. It's not always understandable with the mind. And so it's to just be patient with that, to know that there's more to what you can see, and bring that together, bring it up to the foreground, discuss it with your group, you know, if you need to. So we still do a lot of process. Even though Swami's not around, we have a teacher who we do processes with to continue to develop our soul. It's not like Swami passed away and now nothing. He wanted us to continue this work. He's continuing Jesus' work. And so he wants us to continue it as well, and to continue to bring more people to share this knowledge with as many people as we can who are open to it. We're not going to force anybody. You know, everyone has a choice. So it's who's open to it and it vibes with them, then, you know, we bring them into the processes, and it's really quite beautiful. Actually, it's life-changing.
Well, there's certainly a lot of thinking, a lot of knowing going on, and I know repetition is one way to help burn through that. So you simply get to a point where you're letting go, and it's easy to let go. To me, the way I would say it is your heart is just a constant, the love of the universe in and around you transdimensionally, if you want to go that far, it's a constant. And so you're fully plugged in and connected at any given moment. But again, back to there's many levels of awareness or consciousness. We do our very best to stay out of here as much as we can. I mean, if I've got something to think about, what they said on the news, or my neighbor, or 10 neighbors down, or something like that, I mean, bam, it's like a fish striking, you know, a deep sea fishing moment, the fish striking the hook. Your brain and thoughts are going to run with it for as long as you'll let that line go, you know, out. I wanted to put Sai Baba, the one from, again, 100 plus years ago, his photo up. It's Shri Sai Baba, miracle worker. He straddled 3 religions, philosophies, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam. But if I had to be American and just slice right through it, Mr. Compassion, and very gentle. Could you talk to us a little bit about Sai Baba?
Yes, he was a man of miracles. They don't really, in his story, nobody knows who his parents were. His mother, as the story goes, really prayed for Lord Shiva to come into her life. And she and her husband only had one child, who was Shirdi Baba. They didn't survive long after he was born, and so he was left on the banks of a river and found by somebody, raised by, I believe, a Muslim family. And, you know, over time, he was really interested in meditating, and he was born as like a Shiva persona. He was very into the silence and meditating. And through his life, he didn't really get together with people too much. He was very much on his own. He was outside of Shirdi for a while, meditating, and people would see him like sitting under a tree, and he was just doing really hard penance. Whether it was raining hard, it was very hot, it didn't matter. He was just there meditating and working with his master, whose name is Venkusa. And so over time, Venkusa told him, you need to go and live in Shirdi. There's a lot of work for you to do there. And I'm bringing you there to help those people. And so he wasn't welcome into the village at first, but
That's
over
not
time,
a shock. It's not a shock in India to not be welcome.
no,
Just
yeah,
as it is in America and everywhere else, there's a lot of structure, a lot of ranking or hierarchy or whatever you call it, especially on the religious spiritual front, right?
hmm and he wasn't from the area, so people had to test him, and he gave a lot of healings. Like he would touch somebody and he would heal them, or he would tell them he had certain gifts because he had meditated so much. He had the siddhis and he had the yogas, and he would tell people about their lives and what's going on. And they realized that he was like some kind of a doctor or some kind of a spiritual person. So they finally did let him into their village. And he lived in a dilapidated mosque for a while, just working with the people, welcoming them. A lot of people did him homage. He healed a lot, but he would always have his fire pit burning next to him, burning the people's karmas. He took a lot of karma from people, and he came here to do that, to help get people on the spiritual path more quickly, whether they realized it or not. He was always here to help and to bring people to a higher place, and to show them their faults or their shortcomings in a funny way. He made it a little humorous so people wouldn't take it so seriously or be too offended, but he kind of made it light and sporty. And so he was a very big healer, honored by people from all over. Once his reputation grew, people from all over India came and really sought healings from him, this blessing. He helped a lot of families to have children, and eventually they built a really big wada, or a place for pilgrims to stay. And the biggest one was the Shirdi Sai Mandir, which is where he is now resting. Miracles still happen just through his samadhi, where he is resting now. And he said his bones would heal people. His bones would speak to people. He had so much energy, even when he was alive. His bones still carry that intensity of energy.
And for those who wish out there, not to jump too far ahead here, but you can ask for him to show up, whether it's dream time or just out and about. You're at your mailboxes in your condo complex, and a little old man happens to be fumbling with his keys, and he starts a conversation with you. Now, you're never going to see him again, but the point is, you might have a little interaction that changes your at least energy flow for an hour, for 3 days, or 4 weeks later, you're still asking, who was that fine little fellow with such insight and sparkly eyes? It could be an angel too. You got to allow for that. He totally believed in angels, was tight with angels.
Yes, he did that when he was alive. He would, somebody wanted to come see him, and they maybe didn't have enough money to get on the train. And so he would appear as somebody else, give them a ticket. Oh, I have other business here. I can't get on the train now. You take my ticket, have my seat. He would do that. And even now that he's not alive in a physical body, he's still alive and working with people, giving them miracles. And he does that. We have seen miracles from him, whether it's at the ashram or other places. Maybe his statue was bleeding a little bit, a special divine fluid, or his energy will just come out and you'll feel the intensity of it.
For me,
He's
and
very
this is a personal sharing, so discount it, but he and Geronimo, for me, when I'm running on the hills of North San Antonio and the music's not doing it, suddenly my legs are going, and I'm on a 14-degree incline running up the hill. They will show up and give me encouragement, but I want to skip what they actually do. But they'll do like a little bit of a costume move and some moves physically in my mind's eye that they're just start making me laugh and get with the program. I feel like the Nike Corporation just called up and they're like, just do it. And they get in behind me with their energy. And so my resistance level drops to the hill. And even Dolmife is at one point, and this is a hard sell for most audience members, but has encouraged me to talk to the hill, listen, and encourage the hill to help me as well, and to put my focus on my breath. There's a million ways into your heart. Can you talk to us about what are the simplest steps to begin this process of letting go and allowing the universe, the Sai Babas, the Sri Kaleshwars, to come in and help angels? You know, it's a lot to park what we know, all our drama, all our dilemmas, all our stuff, our stuckness. What do we do to just take some basic steps? And you're a true expert at helping people pump the brakes from their societal situation to get to neutral, so they can at least do some evaluating before they do some jettisoning.
Right, right. Basically, people really have to have a desire to want to change, to acknowledge what it is that's happening with them. There aren't many people who just have that openness to it. So either sometimes there's a crisis that comes up that happens that kind of spurn people on and make them seek the spiritual path. Others are influenced by their friends or what they might see, in their town at a temple or a church or something. But I mean, as far as getting started with it, I had gone through 3 different energy work and spiritual trainings, and this one just kind of vibe with me. It's like when you feel that something is right for you, there's not always words on it, but when you feel like it really is going to do something for you and you just want to flow with it more and learn more, when you find something that makes you feel happy and you want to grow with it, that's when you move forward in that direction. And a lot of times, you can get spirituality, get your energy from nature. I mean, God is nature. It's out there. It doesn't have to be in a church. It doesn't have to be only meditating. But once you find that you do want to become spiritual and connect, then it's to find a group that you vibe with, that you want to do more work with. A lot of people, look up online different types of meditation, and you might choose one based on what the description is of that group. And so it's to really see what's out there, what appeals to you, and find one, try it too. Also, you want to try it and make sure that whatever they're doing, feels right. And like in our lineage, there are so many masters to follow, and people, we work with Shirdi Baba and Sri Kaleshwar. So you want to find who it is. A lot of people just want to follow Buddha, or some just want to be with Jesus or Mother Mary. So find who it is that your heart really connects with, who you want to pray to and be with and have work with you. Because the spiritual path is not easy. It's having to look at yourself and the darker parts of yourself, your shadow, bringing that up and releasing it in a way that's appropriate, that's pleasant. Yeah, I find that mantras and meditation help me so much with that.
Can you
It's
give
been
us
the game changer.
Yeah, can you give us a super simple mantra for the person out there who's checking all this out? What would be just a beginner mantra that you love? It's not even a beginner mantra, because if you own it, stuff happens.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya is the name of Lord Shiva. It's like the oldest name of God. And it also is the 5 bijas of the 5 elements. Na is earth, Ma is fire, Shi is sky, Va or Wa is water, and Ya is air. Namah Shivaya. It brings peace, it brings balance. It's a beautiful mantra. You can say it indoors, but it's especially effective outdoors, when you're walking in nature. Om Namah Shivaya.
Do you mind if I jump early? Usually we do this at the end of the show, but I'm going to put Sri Kaleshwar's photo up in Sai Baba. Do you mind either out loud, I guess, 3 times the mantra, and then people at home can repeat it and play this back, but they can see if they can just allow for, even through 3 screens, iPhone, my screen, their screen, your screen, we all scream for more spiritual ice cream here. But can we repeat it enough that a person, you don't have to be from India, you don't have to be interested, but we're going to park that last statement. We're going to say just simply, we're allowing for all with a capital A, but can you allow for your vibration to go up? Pure joy, pure happiness, pure love. 1 + 1 = 11. But if you're super sharp at this, you'll say 111, or you'll go bigger for a number. But do you mind doing some repetition of the, what were you saying, mantra?
The mantra.
Yes, and
Yes.
allowing for group chanting here, because I think you'll be able to hear and feel these guys right off the bat.
Om Namah Shivaya. 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 The best way to really chant mantras is silently within yourself.
And
there are many songs that are just Om Namah Shivaya. Craig Pruess is a really good New Age artist who has a beautiful version of Om Namah Shivaya. And there are many of it. Like there are many songs of the Gayatri. There's a lot of Om Namah Shivaya out there as well. And so there's a couple versions that I really like that I listen to sometimes. If I don't want to chant it myself, just hearing that vibration in your ear is really powerful because it changes what you're doing, what's going on inside of your body.
And do you mind just asking them to bring you a scent, a smell? It could be floral, deep Indian jungle, but the highest vibration of deep Indian jungle, or incense from, forgotten all my words, from one of the headquarters or temples or whatever I'm trying to say in India, but something you can't buy off a store shelf. Some version that enthralls, thrills, elevates.
Elevates.
And if you don't mind using words to describe what you're receiving. I have him on my wall. Sri Shirdi Sai Baba. I'm looking at his photo on my wall. I've got a gajillion angels I'm looking at, and Plato and my dad and stuff like that. But he's up on my wall.
Feeling the deeper connection that we have. Baba lives within everybody. He's everywhere and he lives within everyone. So even right now, just having that fragrance, honoring the divine, I'm feeling the deeper connection within.
And what fragrance did you get? Which way?
It's a little floral, woodsy floral.
Okay. So you go to India. What year did you first go? Because you've gone back almost every year, every other year for a month sometimes, or a little bit longer, once or twice. And then tell us a little bit about how did you get started? When did you go? Did you know you were going to Hanakunda or Shirdi or one of those other places? I might have not said it right, but.
I didn't realize at first, no. When I met Swami's two student teachers who were here on island, I was just getting involved with the energy. I started charging the 5 elements. I didn't really realize I was going to go to India. I didn't know. Things kind of developed and happened as they do with many people who are interested on their own. It just developed that some of my other friends were going and I got interested. I decided I wanted to be there as well. So I started all of this in 2007 and my first visit to the ashram was in 2010. And back then, anytime Swami had a program, I was there. I was just so taken with the energy. I remember my first visit to the ashram, I just felt Jesus. It was just like a feeling I had when I was younger. We would go visit a mother house in Southern California where many, many nuns live. And their devotion to Jesus was so strong. I felt just like that when I would get to the ashram. It was amazing. It's like my heart was just singing. It was like, I felt like I was coming home. Something very beautiful and strong. And it just, it took me by surprise. I wasn't feeling it. I mean, I wasn't realizing that that was going to be the way. But I think Jesus was speaking to my soul and saying, this is the right place for you. This is the right time. We're welcoming you here now. because not everybody gets a chance to go to Panaconda. If you're meant to go there, you will. And if you want to, but you're not really welcome, then you won't go. Things won't fall into place for you. And it's like that with people. But I've gone many, many times. I feel like I've been there before in other lives. Many of us have a special place there where our soul energy is in the earth. It's called a power spot. And that's a really strong, like Swami wanted everyone to have like the power spot. And that's where you put your personal mantra. I'm going to go into all of these a little bit later too.
I love this. Yes.
Yeah, you put your personal mantra into some really powerful Duni ash and earth of Panaconda, and you charge it for a certain number of days. And then you bury that into a tin and you put it in the earth in Panaconda. And the energy there is so amplified because, you know, Buddha meditated there, Jesus did, Shirdi Baba, Swami, many, many saints, and even all around the ashram, powerful samadhis of other saints as well. So that earth energy just keeps amplifying your soul energy. It can help you to grow. It can help you to get through more of your issues, you know, more quickly, as long as you're diligent with your personal process, which is something else I could explain. But I would go to India, you know, 3 times in a year while Swami was still alive. That only gave me 3 years because 10, 11, 12. He actually passed in March of 12. So I was there probably at least 7 or 8 times while he was alive. I've been going back ever since, not during COVID, but, you know, when we could go back and be there, we were there as a group. I don't go back by myself. I go with our group, which is a very strong set of students who are very dedicated to learning more about the channels. You only learn about it when you apply it to yourself, when you chant the mantras, when you are in process with very specific energies, whether it's Shiva's energy at Shivaratri, Guru Purnima, which is coming up next month, the energy of the Guru. Also Navaratri in October. Mother Divine's energy is a really, really powerful time to be at the ashram, or at least in process, connecting more deeply with the energies. So a lot of it, it's just so meaningful for me. I mean, it's changed my life. I used to go to the ashram. I would do whatever we were doing there, and then I would come home and it's like, okay, now I'm going back to the real world, which was a total farce because this is all illusion. I mean, everything is, I don't want to say, when I would say I'd go back to the real world, I meant back to my life as usual. But the more I would go to the ashram, the more I do processes, my life became like a meditation. It became being in process all the time. And I'm that way now. I'm always in process. There's always something to clear out. Definitely, once you've healed yourself, and you can help other people as well. So there's always somebody coming and needing help, or you know, wanting an appointment, trying to get through whatever issue they have. And Swami's teachings really helped me to deal with negativity. I could not handle negativity when I was young. It would always like impale me. I just didn't have, I guess, spiritual guts. I had certain connections, but chanting the mantras and getting into processes really helped like toughen me up spiritually so that I can handle negativity. A big part of that is knowing that it could come and it's all a part of the illusion, but then being able to decharge it as well once you might receive it, to be able to purify it back out and not hold on to it. I just didn't know about decharging when I was younger, and I think many people don't. So it was a big learning curve for me just growing up. But you know, these channels have really helped me to be a lot more sensitive to everything and to understand vibration better.
I'm almost saging daily now. Anytime I have contact with people, I'm saging my house and so on. I sent an email to one of the guests on one of the shows this year, and they were just going through something that week. They're a fantastic person, high vibe, but you know, we're all ebb and flow. Welcome to being human. And so just by the email connection in the evening in the kitchen, we're all like, do you smell that tobacco smoke? And so we're always putting ourselves somewhere, whether we know it or not, and we may not care for weeks at a time, years at a time, decades at a time, and we wonder why we get even more stuck, more unhappy, more feeling trapped, unable to breathe. It's a shocker. How can we just slow down and start appreciating Mother Nature. I mean, I love India. And I want to mention your website again, saiomcreations.com, SAIAUM creations.com, for people to check you out. Do you offer a free 15-minute consult, or do people need to jump in these days for an hour, half an hour booking period? And can you describe briefly, before we get back to talking slowing down, can you describe briefly how people can take a first step with you?
Yes, we can do a free 15-minute consultation. Absolutely. Yes. People can get a hold of me on my email, or if you even go to my website, my phone number's there. So that could be, you can contact me that way as well. And just to kind of see where people are, see what their openness is, discuss what might be bothering them, what's happening. And then from there, we would set up whatever healing modality they would need.
Sure. And while they're talking, though, you're doing a different type of thing, like the equivalent of tasting the wind again and listening. And you're hearing sort of the steps that might be, or the right modality, or the right this, or the right that, to then take steps with them if they're willing. That's the other thing. They can get very skittish. Remember, part of us, the ego side, the resistance side, as soon as you realize you're getting closer to the flame, and you're the flame, or the Sai Baba, everybody else is the flame, part of the ego is like, ooh, I got to get out of here. No need to do anything more. We've all seen that, where it's like, psh, they're gone.
That can happen. Although, in a 15-minute, you just want to feel them out and reassure them that everything is in our lives for a reason. Nothing is put in our path just randomly. Everything's there for a reason. It's to really try to understand it better, to get through it, to appreciate it being there. Even some tough times can really help us move through our blocks. And it's there for a reason. So it's to help people kind of have a different perspective on what's showing up for them. A lot of times our inner issues are reflected to others, and that comes back to us. And we blame other people for the way they acted nasty, or raising their voice with us, or whatever it might be. We have to look at that as a reflection for what's going on inside of us. So it's not all a blame game. Definitely don't take things personally. You have to look at it in a very different way. And that's what I appreciate about Swami's teachings. They're really well-rounded. It's like nothing I've ever studied or experienced before.
I'm quoting a show, but life events don't happen to us, they happen for us. And even the most prickliest person that 9 out of 10 people would agree is a jerk, still, if you want to flip around somehow and get to here, there's still an upside somehow.
There is a lesson.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to do a long 10-hour car ride with your total stranger who's a jerk, but it does mean there's an opportunity for a broader perspective. And at the worst, I'm quoting another guest from another show this year, they had an ingenious way of describing this. Instead of trying to send them love and light, or angel love, or Sai Baba's love, or compassion, or anything, high vibe energy, you send it to their angel crew, who will know how to distribute it better than you. And
That's a good idea.
I thought that was ingenious. Yeah, I almost fell out of my chair, because I'm like, I've never heard that before. And there's a lot in spirituality that is, it's just different versions. There's so many ways to say the same thing, and yet that's the beauty. With all the contrast of 8 billion people, we need 16 billion different ways to say the exact same concept, because we're so individualistic, and we need just the right way to hear it. Plus, don't forget timing.
That's exactly.
Yeah, you got to do a lot of suffering before you might even want to listen a little iota, because we can be pretty stubborn, or just like the dog that doesn't want to go for a walk. And you can't blame anybody for anything. It's just when it happens, and then poof, eureka. And so that's a lot of what we're talking about. A lot of light bulbs going off, a lot of light. Where would you like to talk next for either a Hindu term, a healing concept, or just, again, the idea of there's a different flow when you're here versus thinking, judging, word structure, everything else?
Well, we can talk healing concept. And like you were saying, some people suggest when you're sending healing to someone, you send it to their angel crew. We would send it to their soul, because some people are really resistant, mentally resistant, and so they won't want a healing. But if somebody like in their family or a close friend of theirs asks for them, even though that person says no, you can still send it to their soul. And then when they're ready, their soul will integrate that energy to themselves.
Nighttime, when they're asleep.
Yeah, that's normally when they say, when their soul, we just qualify it with when their soul is most ready to receive it, for the best and highest good of all involved. Send this energy. And in sending healings, we use a very specific mantra depending what the issue is. We also use yantra. Mantra, as I think I had said, is a set of words which carry a certain vibration. There's mantras for love, for peace, for truth, for the 5 elements. There's mantras for Mother Divine. It depends what the issue is. There's a mantra for every, every situation that can come up. And so it's just to know the best mantra to use for that soul to help heal them. And yantras are like energy diagrams that speak to our soul. It's like a little reminder. It can just remind our soul that it is a spark of light. It is divine. And many of the teachings and energy systems that Swami has taught us have a yantra, a sacred diagram that go along with them. And so while sending a healing, we would chant mantra. We also would visualize a yantra in our third eye and send that to the person's soul. And that makes it really powerful. Mm. And that's also the power of the pujas, is that the flames are the yantra. They're that sacred energy that connects us with God. And so we're already chanting a mantra. We're looking at the flames. And so mantra plus yantra is opening the divine doorway for something to flow. It's also like tantra, pulling something formless, something supernatural from a form. And that's something that Swami really worked a lot with us, with working with statues, working with other power objects to pull that energy through. A lot of the statues in the ashram have Mother Divine energy, or Shirdi Baba's has his soul energy in there. And so working with our souls, we connect with that divine energy and receive healing ourselves, or we ask it for other people.
And is this not a good opportunity for someone out there who's having a resistance? They're stumbling a little, or they're just not cracking through to the next opening level. I don't know how to say it. Consciousness thing. There's a trillion layers of consciousness, but we all can get stuck a little bit or not allow for what we took 1,000 people and they each did the same little baby step exercise. We'll call it spirituality, consciousness, more love in the moment. 900, 700, 800, depending, maybe 987 will get it done. But there'll be a few people who are like, I'm just way too up here. And they'll use a lot of words and they'll be like, I'm not letting go. And they're fully capable. But that, from what my understanding is a tremendous skill of yours. So if someone's having trouble, fill in the rest of the blank. Just even giving themselves a chance to breathe, relax, let go. That's one of your, and I'm going to say bailiwick, one of your specialties. One of your bailiwicks, don't even know what the word means anymore, but one of your specialties for helping the person, again, pump the brakes and give themselves a chance to embrace whatever that next step was for their opening. Is that fair to say?
Fair. Sure.
Good.
Yeah.
That's my understanding of one of the, we're talking just at the front end for those people who are getting stuck for just the mechanics of letting go and functioning in a sort of more open way, in a flowing way.
What we normally do with people who are wanting to really get out of their own way is we give a personal mantra. It is a set of words that connects you with your soul more deeply. And it really is magical. It's a very potent, short mantra that Swami has blessed. And so really the first thing we give to people who come is a personal mantra, is a list of them that is read aloud because it's not in English. So we have to get the right pronunciation. If you get the right pronunciation, you get the right vibration, and then it can be something really productive for your soul. And that's normally how we start, is giving a personal mantra, working with them with that, giving it at least 41 days to charge that, to chant it, to let the energy come into your soul. Also recommended is breathing exercises, because breathing, the pranayama, can really calm the mind, calm the body. It's like a reset. It's a really nice reset that a lot of people, is affordable. They can do it. They can just work with it on their own after they learn how to do it. Being out in nature on their own is also very, very helpful, just to tone down, because nature is all, the 5D energy, very divine and soft. And so those are the recommendations I would have. But
Yeah,
personal
the
mantra is
ego
very
is not going
powerful.
to want to stick around for 41 days. It's going to eventually be like, fine,
Well,
get it
people
done.
have to make that decision.
Yeah, the ego will beat a retreat and be like, on another day, I'll put up a big fuss, but not on this anymore. After 41 days, it'll put the white flag up, and then again, it'll show up again. But that's I love the 41-day thing. Talk to us again about nature, but 5D you mentioned, and fifth dimensional, this, or we're in the third 3D. Do you have a way to kind of say it in, and again, forgive me for always coming back to basics here, but do you have an easier way for us to grasp? We're in 3D right now, but 5D is that when we're in our heart connected to all that is. Can you talk to us more about all that?
Yeah, fifth dimensional is 2 levels up from what we're in now in the illusion. And many saints and people have passed on can be in the fifth dimension. It's a high vibrating level. The earth herself and humanity is moving up into the fifth dimension as soon as this process happens, the ascension process, which is ongoing right now. It's a high vibrating level.
Ascension, just one more definition, if you don't mind, explain that for us. I know tons of people love that word, but I'm still working on it 12 years later, just like spirit and source and everything else. But ascension.
Ascension is moving on from how you are as a 3D body into a body more of light, more crystalline in nature than carbon-based.
Okay.
So ascending from this third dimensional plane into the higher levels, fifth dimension, sixth, moving up as a being of light.
So I'm less worried about my Slurpee machine and whether it's functioning, and I'm much more concerned about, am I taking a calm breath and actually feeling my favorite tree in my backyard, or just more in the moment, connected at all, and being blissful for absolutely no external reason whatsoever, purely for the fun of it. Is that okay?
It's the love currency. It's the Shakti currency, the fifth dimension, and being in someone who's ascended has really realized the truth of their soul. They know who they are as a soul. We all come from Divine Mother. She's our soul mother. And so when you ascend and you realize yourself as somebody who is that, you're not a human being. You don't have the identity that you came into this life with. You're a being of light. You're a light in the universe. And you're connected with everything and everyone. There's oneness. There's really, it's just based on love. The vibration is love. It's going to be completely different than the way things are now.
Okay, so after Sri Kaleshwar passes, and again, I'm going to get I know we mentioned the year, was it 2012? Okay.
Yes.
But there were a lot of adherents, and just because human beings are human beings, and the way every organization works, I don't care which institute, if we talk spirituality or consciousness studies, oh my goodness, consciousness itself could go knock on the door of an institute of consciousness and be told, go away, I'm looking for consciousness. Now, that I'm borrowing from Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. That's a quote from that big book by Persig, who passed away about 5 years ago. I got to talk to his caretaker while he's still in hospice. But the point of that was, I think his exact quote was, truth comes knocking on the door, and the person inside yells, go away, I'm looking for the truth. And so what I was trying to say by this is, a huge amount of love is available in any given instant. And whether someone else on the outside, or a saint, or the universe, or just your guardian angel, or your passed over relatives, your ancestors, you could have an amazing moment and go right back into hard thinking. And then even if you're given repeated miracles, we can still resist, at least some of us. Others are really laid back and learn how to roll with it and pass it along to others. So there was a little bit of a scattering, not to get into too much detail here, but just as would happen in any situation, folks went around the globe and founded different schools, I believe, for Sri Kaleshwar and his studies, and they're all probably fantastic. How many schools, without getting into any more detail than that, are there? At least like 5, 6, 10, a dozen schools all over the place? Some in India, some in California, some Virgin Islands.
I'd say probably at least 20.
Oh, wow. 20.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot there's some in Germany.
Oh, Germany.
Japan.
Germany was big.
Yeah, definitely. England, a lot in the US. they're all over. Swami touched so many souls and countries, work with so many students from those countries that there are quite a few.
Have the schools found a way to stay in touch with each other, or is it really just individual efforts out there doing their thing as you would expect?
Well, a lot of the schools, those people who are leading the schools have their specific dharma. I mean, there's a general overall dharma
Lineage
that,
stuff.
yes, that you're sharing this information with the world. Swami's knowledge about the divine channels and Divine Mother, um, and how to share the healings that we have learned how to give. And so there's that overall, but then the people who are leading the different centers each have their dharma as well. Some are really sharing more about Divine Mother. Some are working with more with maybe Shirdi Baba. You know, so it's just that they're similar, but then they have like a little extra efforts in their own soul's journey to give specific instruction.
So different colors, different flavor, different, but trust that.
But basic.
Yeah, trust that if you're meant to be going to one of those places, you're going to get some invisible guidance and pointed a certain way.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so talk to us about on St. Thomas. You mentioned, and I didn't know this until today, two teachers that you studied under, if I heard it correctly. Can you tell us either a little bit about them or just the concept of the organ? I mean, it's good to have other folks who you can share a ceremony with. I'm trying to be very careful with words here. That you can, participate with to let go and be in the moment and do the rest. Can you share just a little bit more about them? Are they older than you, the next generation up? Had they been going to India for 20 plus years earlier?
They had been going to India before I had started, probably in the 90s.
Mm.
And I believe they no longer share this kind of knowledge.
Oh, wow.
They were like a catalyst for me, at least, and for the other people who were there that day and that week. Right. Yeah, but they did their job. They connected with different souls and they brought us into the group, and they found like they wanted to do something different after a while. And some people do that. They'll study with Swami for a little bit and then they'll say, well, now I want to, maybe try something else. I guess dabblers. But there's also a really strong set of students who are very dedicated and are still on this path and continuing to develop more and more like different styles of meditation and sharing the healings. Writing, a lot of his students have written books, and so that's really powerful. Their experiences, because everyone had a different experience with Swami. He was very specific to give them lessons that their soul would hold on to and work with. And so,
interesting.
that's out there.
I'm going to put his photo up in just a second, and we'll get a topic from him, or it'll completely job. It'll be a reminder of one of the topics, because I know you have a bunch to still cover with us. But I wanted to recount something. I was at a Sai Baba temple somewhere in the United States. Leave it at that. I've been invited. There's a couple from two countries, one India and another country, and they'd invited me and they had not yet gotten there. So I'd spent a lot of years in New York City, and I can tell you it was like being, how do I do this? If you're in a certain part of New York, people might come up to you and be like, can I help you? Like, what are you doing here? Sort of thing. So I was sitting on the bench loving the vibe, and I must have had 5, 6, 7 different people come up and be like, hey, could I help you? What are you doing here? And it was awesome. But so they finally arrived, and it's funny because another car pulled up, and randomly 2 people from India who went to high school or so together did not know they were both in America. They both had a quick reunion.
Oh, wow.
One of them, I'm going to try to get this right. One of them's mom does I listen to Sai Baba on your behalf. You don't have to do any work or connect directly. They just tell you what you need to know for your life. So that's the mom. And the daughter had that skill all the way. The husband was 50-50, had just converted the week before. These are folks from India. The husband had just decided spirituality, the whole Sai Baba thing, and the rest was okay, 50-50 now. Because you know how there's a resistance curve. It could be just mowing the lawn. It could be anything else. You bought a book. You're supposed to read it. 2 years go by, and every day you're like, I'm going to read that book. But eventually, sometimes, at some point, the ego gets tired, and you're like, okay, fine, I'll crack it open. And you like the book. So I'm sitting there. They have a reunion. I end up helping I've already helped the couple that arrived from the 2 countries, but end up helping that daughter. She, bam, bam, she sees, feels, hears, sees Sai Baba, gets answers, get hugs. It's not in that order. He's like, I'll give it a go, which I was like, wow. And I was also like, whoa, it's going to take a little extra energy. He got his answers, got his hugs. He went to go see across the street. It was a little blurry. He couldn't let go. He's resisting on that. I mean, I don't blame anybody. It's a lot. But we went to go see the cloud in the sky and to look up in the sky, sorry. And I shared the experience. I usually try to completely go just shut down. So I stay out of it and let the person ride the bike on their own. I saw the cloud in the sky, a big cloud, disappear. He saw it disappear. He was shocked. I was shocked. I'll still never forget it. But it was Sai Baba doing his thing. And I have to remind folks, whether you know about India or not, or think of all the other cultures, all the other indigenous experiences, or just religious experiences, or angels, or what are we trying to say? New Age, spiritual, all the words we use to say love. There's a lot to this, and I just absolutely am a huge fan of Sai Baba and Sri Kaleshwar because they just have this miraculous ability to get in there and remind you to keep it simple, more love, and so on. So with that, I know we are sitting with VASI Therese Rose Lopez. Super slow extra accentuation just because I mess up every name there is. But this is my opportunity for growth, and I'm not messing anything up. I wanted, though, to just give Sri Kaleshwar a chance to suggest something off your list or a new topic that we could hear from you about, VASI.
Okay.
Okay.
So, time to get to the list. So one thing that he wanted me to talk about really is, like you were saying, love. That is the main vibration. It underlies everything in creation. It's one of the main vibrations in creation. And there were so many people from different religious backgrounds, or actually no religion at all, who would go to the ashram and study with Swami. He attracted a very eclectic group of seekers. And it didn't matter to him what your background was. He was really just looking directly at your soul, because religion is more like humanity based, sometimes as a control for people. And he just wanted to help your soul to grow. He really spread that the true religion is the religion of love. You have to really love one another. And that was Jesus' message as well. Love one another as you love yourself. Everything has to do with issues of the hearts. No matter what it is you do, either you're creating karma, which is, not always a positive thing, or you're living your dharma. You're really helping somebody with your soul gifts and moving forward on your path to inspire others. And so the big thing that he would talk about is oneness. Even within our groups, there are sometimes different opinions about how to do something. He said, try to stay in the unity. Sometimes egos would pop up in the high energy. Some egos would just come up and want to do their own thing or want to take the group off course. But the more that he said you can stay in the unity, that's where the divinity is, to stay in the oneness.
Very
And
wise
that's where,
advice. Very
yeah.
wise. Would you get an animal showing up, like an eagle coming by, dropping the snake in the middle of an argument of which direction to go, or just not an argument, but just in the middle of suggestions of like, hey, let's go A direction, B direction, not A. Would you get little mini miracles in the moment, or actual miracles in the moment once in a blue moon, or often?
Once in a blue moon, not so often. Yeah. But he was really good at predicting that something like that would come up. He would say it in front of the whole group, and then it would happen. And I was just like, I was blown away.
Yeah.
But he could tell, he could read people's minds. So he knew when someone was going to be in resistance. And that he said it out loud too. So they would catch it and say, he knew I was going to be this way. I need to tone down. So
there was an adherent or a student in that documentary with Alan Steinfeld who was complimenting Sri Kaleshwar, but at the same time saying, I just can't figure out how he does it all. And the way he was saying it was just beautiful, because you could see the resistance in him. You could see the love for Sri Kaleshwar. but there's a part of the brain that wants to analyze, measure, and by doing all that, you're not here and you're not actually just experiencing. So it's in his grasp. He just doesn't know it, but it's a beautiful moment. And he's got, oh my God, he's got a name that's not American anymore. He picked a double name. Like, I'm going to make it up, Shri, but it's something like that. It's a very common, Krishna or something. I forgot the name, but anyhow, it was a beautiful moment in the documentary. John Gray was in there. Sri Kaleshwar is in there. I just feel like you can feel that his vibration come through the screen and from back in 2004 straight to you. Do we mind digressing for a second before we hit the list? Because you've got some beautiful stuff to share with us. Wasn't there the well story with the cobra and the friend was supposed to look out for him? Because wasn't Sri Kaleshwar very into not just a mantra, but the moment, the timing with the moon? There's a certain time to focus all the energy. And if you did it right, you know, you're charging the Energizer Bunny for a long time so you can share more love and so on. But the friend ran off at one point. Tell us that one. That was a beautiful story.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. God, it really just, Swami had some really big tests in his life as he was charging these channels, and everything that he's given us, he's personally charged and tried himself. So he doesn't just like say, oh, here, I'm going to give you this mantra, that mantra. He knows what everything is going to do, and he's chosen them specifically to help us fast track our spiritual growth. So he was charging a mantra one time. I think it might have been on a full moon night, but it was supposed to be, it was like the last night of his charging where he could connect more deeply with Mother Divine and get a really big gift from her, a big, Shakti for his soul. And he had to be up to here in the well and have his friends sit around and watch, because it's a well that cobras would go into at night. And his friend saw the cobra coming and took off. And Swami was just there like, oh, and that happens sometimes when you're in the high energy, the illusion come in and kind of cut it off or want to try to do that. So he used his channels. He really, I don't remember the exact end of the story, but he was able somehow to either calm the cobra down or make it turn around and go. And so he was able to finish his process, but it was like a last chance there, a last call for, please help me, Baba. This can't be happening now. I really want to complete this. So he was able to make it through, but yeah, you can't rely on your friends always.
Yeah. And again, the lands, you could just, if you do make the trek to India, you recommend people hit Shirdi, Penakunda, if I said it correctly again.
Penaconda.
Penaconda, sorry, I'm going to mispronounce everything. But these are worth stopping at. And there is an ashram, but on the Penaconda one, you would want to check in advance to see if you can participate. Is it wide open, or you should check in advance from afar first?
You need to contact the ashram first before you decide to go there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Okay, so what are you telling us about next? We've talked cities, we've talked mantras, we've talked yantras, mudras. We haven't talked mudras, actually.
We haven't talked mudras, no.
I can just mention one thing. I mean, this is going to be probably the most standard mudra in the world, but since I don't even know all this stuff, I had this given, I won't say by whom, it doesn't matter, but by a figure that just, I think as I get older, or as years go by, I should say, I'm using it more now, just in random moments, instead of just sage or other asking. I find this just as effective to pull me into my center, and even to share. If someone else does it, I can't repeat it on this hand, but if somebody does it this way and they do it through the screen, you can connect that way, just as you could with your hand, but a little extra strength to it is the best way I could say it. Do you have a mudra for us that is your absolute favorite? What's the one that's the fallback?
Well, that's the one I was going to use.
Whoa. Okay. So
that one,
tell us all about it, because that's so funny. This, I don't even have a definition. So take it from here.
It's a healing mudra that I have seen pictures of Mother Mary using that mudra. Her hand is kind of down to the side, but it's there when she's sending healing. Our Jesus statue upstairs in the mandir at Penaconda, Jesus mudra is just like this, just what you did. Yeah, it's a very powerful healing mudra. And mudras are hand gestures that can be used in dance, in meditation, for healings. For self-healing too, you can sit and hold your fingers in a certain way. Another really popular one is this, sitting with your hands. This is like peace, no fear and peace. Just sitting with your hands on your lap. Yeah, there are many different mudras, but I don't know what that one means.
Well, I know
You
there's
just
some,
made it up?
yeah, just made it up, but there have been some over the years before I even knew what a mudra was. I'd just be doing just for fun, or not fun, sorry, just to, as you're feeling energy and so on, just to keep you at another space. So you don't quite go the whole way in to whatever is around you and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it can help just keep you focused on what you're doing. Yeah, yeah. There's some for grounding. There's some really to open your crown, connect your
how about that? How
spine
about that one?
chakras.
How about one to open our crown so we let go more, flow more? Which one was that one?
I have a book on it. I don't have that one memorized exactly, but yeah. So, anyways,
What's
yeah,
one of
there are
your
many kinds.
personal favorites though for and then describe the rest of the situation? What's a special one that you wouldn't mind sharing?
This is good for grounding. Like when you're in the high energy, this helps you ground. Just I can feel the energy coming from above into my feet.
Oh, whoops. One or two fingers?
No, it's two down and two up, like a
Okay.
little antenna.
Got it.
Antenna pulling and bringing. I can feel it on my feet right now. Yeah, this is really good for grounding. People who talk a lot or really need to settle into their meditation, you can start with that one. Ground yourself.
Fun.
So,
Okay. What else do you have for us?
some advice for people, just advice that Sri Kaleshwar has given us. It's very practical. It may not be easy to apply, but it really has been meaningful for me. And I wasn't always so open to all of it. Over time, as I worked through my issues and became more clear, and I saw things differently, these were some of the main points that I worked with to get me to where I am right now. So, these divine channels are all helping to raise our Kundalini. The Kundalini is the energy at the base of the spine that comes up through the whole chakra system, and it can open up your whole chakra system, your consciousness, brings you enlightenment. So the divine channels, whatever process you're involved in, they all are helping us to move out of our drama, of our egocentric ways, and into our dharma, to become a more soul-oriented person. It's all about reducing the ego and raising the soul. And we've been brought up and taught, I want to be first, or I want to be better than this person. It's just so very ego oriented that it's like almost backwards from what it could be. We really are here as souls, as humans having a divine experience. So, or divine having a human experience. It's to change the way we look at things, to not be so in our drama, but to get out and look at the wider perspective, the bigger picture of what's happening, and know that we each have a dharma. We each have a gift that has been given to us from birth to share with others. Some people are really good teachers. Some are really good healers. Some people can speak many languages. There's all sorts of gifts that the divine has given to help people share God's energy around. And so these channels and the processes we're involved in really help bring that up. You have to be open to receiving it. You have to ask for it too. It's important to ask, what is my dharma? What am I here to do? I don't want to just be creating more karma, but I want to be finding out what is my dharma, which could be personal. There is a personal aspect, and there's also a group aspect. Like the group that I'm with, we are practicing a very specific type of meditation called peace circles, which I can get into more later. And that is a really beautiful dharma from our teacher who studied with Sri Kaleshwar. And she's taught us all how to do that, and we're initiating more people into it. And it's really powerful. It's very powerful self-healing and global healing, that type of meditation. And that's her dharma, was to bring that to people. So that's one of the points. The other one we have, when we change our vibration, we change our experience. A lot of people are so, just stuck in their ways, not decharging enough, and they don't know how to like attract more positive experiences to themselves. And I know for myself, after charging the mantras, receiving a personal mantra, charging the elements mantras, your vibration does change. You're releasing old things that no longer serve you, that don't help you move forward. It's like you're getting out of the way of yourself. So your soul can move forward on its path, and not all your conditions and habits and blocks holding you down and keeping you from being fully who you are, who you have the potential to become. So Swami was a big believer of that we all have the potential to be like Jesus or Shirdi Baba. We all have that divine within our soul, and we can do the same miracles and healings.
So
it's available to all of us.
I have a challenge to the whole audience here, whether it's 10 years in the future or watching live when this gets released later in the summer. First, I wanted to say what you were talking about. No drama, just Rama. I love that expression. I've been saying that for like 8-9 years just because I love it. It's so funny. And it's easy to just take a less serious approach, change your perspective. It's the Wayne Dyer quote, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. But here's a crazy chance to let Sai Baba, Sri Kaleshwar, angels, just your guides. It could be your passed over mom, anybody. Just let anybody in the universe who's a love figure come in, turn to the universe, and just say, like out of that 1970s Network movie, universe, I could use a mantra. Ancestors, Sai Baba, Sri Kaleshwar, get me a mantra, but unconventional means. You're sitting at a traffic light, a stop sign, and a truck goes by with just the phrase that you're like, oh my God, that's it. I've been waiting 2 weeks for this mantra. Or it's a commercial. It could be an alcohol commercial or a car commercial, because a lot of those are very much about life. Take the Mercedes out and add life, and it's like, wow, it's telling you to enjoy the ride in life. And it was, it hits home. But there are hidden mantras all around. If you ask, let the universe come in indirectly and help is my advice. And then let's go more direct here. Back to, you had some topics for us here. What's your next bit of advice? You've had very good tips for us.
In life as in meditation, meaning change your perspective on life. In meditation, especially in the ones that we call the Peace Circles meditations, we employ connection, vibration, intention, observation, and reflection. And so it's to really have a deeper, for everybody, a lot of people these days are not connected to source. I think that is definitely changing with the fifth dimensional energy here on earth, but it's to have a connection with somebody in the divine. Connect your heart and soul to a divine figure. Could be Divine Mother, Baba, Jesus, whoever it is, male or female, it doesn't matter. Someone who's off planet, who has walked the earth walk and knows how to guide a soul still on the path, on this earth walk. Have a connection with somebody who is going to be able to, love and support you through your changes in your soul journey.
It's shake and bake, and I helped. And I'm sorry to keep going back to cliches, marketing stuff, and Americanisms, but I'm doing it only because we tend to settle in our perspective and get hardcore without even knowing it necessarily, so that 10 weeks, 10 days, 10 years can go flying by, and we forgot to open up again and just see which way we settle, or connect and settle, or whatever, or no settling. It doesn't matter what I say on the words. But I have to give one practical example. My guardian angel, someone gave me beautiful advice. It was what you just said. So I'm going to seem so vacuous right now. It was, I'm on day 3 of my guardian angel, just asking her whenever I can remember to come into my ball of light. Not that she's not with me like a Secret Service agent all the time, but to be very asking about it, inviting, and to be in my flow more, whether we're talking going for a run or just getting more yeses if we have to be business oriented or anything, but just a little more divine and a little more allowing and a little more, and just connecting, what you said. And it doesn't have to be your guardian angel, and you don't have to know who Sai Baba is. I would just say, trust that he's love and interconnected in a lot of different religions, philosophies. Again, Mr. Miracles, lots of angels, and same thing with Sri Kaleshwar. Watch that YouTube double part video thing, and oh my God, how can you not walk away with a touch of just love on an Indian breeze. Okay, keep going, Vossy. I did not mean to interrupt. You're on a roll.
Yes, good. So there's connection and vibration. Vibration really is the mantras that we use. They are mantras given to us by Mother Divine, written down in palm leaves like 3,000 to 5,000 years back by rishis and saints who meditated and received visions from Mother Divine. So the mantras we use are very high-powered energy. That's the vibration that we work with. And it is strong enough to really dismantle and unwind your inner blocks, your ego. It's very powerful for making changes in your life, working with the denser energies. This whole divine lineage is one of intention. And so every time we have a meditation, there's an intention to go with it. Like, I really want to send healing to my son, or I want to bring peace to this part of the world. Whatever it is, have an intention, even in your everyday waking moment. When you get up, I want this day to be really positive for me. I just want to love everyone that I come into contact with, even if I don't like them. I just want to send them love. Whatever it is, every time you light a candle, say, I'm lighting this candle for this reason. Intention is really important to live by, and that's what our lineage is one of. It's one of intention, of really sharing the Divine Mother's knowledge, of having experiences with her, and bringing all of this to everybody. When we were at the ashram, supernatural things would happen so often. I said, well, okay, supernatural is natural here. It's just like the way it is. It was such a high vibing place. It was, Swami would make, have miracles happen. The murti would, either bleed liquids or have little lingams come out of them, little power objects. Things would happen just regularly there because it was such a high energy place for so long. So that's the intention, is to really have something that you can help you lead the way through your day. And intention really is like setting the course for the energy to flow. So you can have an intention for the whole day. You can have it for one moment. You can add to it throughout the day, but definitely we have them as we begin our meditations as well. And that just really helps things to focus more. Because you said it.
Yeah. In Texas, we have these glasses that have the glass beads, but colored, or maybe they're colored after it was blown, but they're so beautiful, all the different colors. And I'm sure people have better words for all this, but either they're from Mexico or they're from the Mexican heritage and they're made in Texas now. I don't know. But I use one as a candle holder, and I've been putting not votive candles, but like IKEA. I love IKEA, those little tea lights, because they burn longer. The white ones are the best deal in the world, if anybody cares out there. But and they even ship those out these days. You get 100 for like $3, but they last 4 to 6 hours. It's incredible. I've been keeping a tea light burning forever, more than months and months and months now. I blew through my old supply, ordered 600 more of those. And what I'm trying to get at is, you still can lose your intention as you're lighting it. You just go like, oh, the candle's out, and light another one. So no matter what we're talking about, going for a run, you can still end up thinking about your business, and you're supposed to actually let go and enjoy trees. You're breathing all the time. But when was the last time you did the golden breath? And so I'm just saying, the forest from the trees, what you said just totally hit me on that, is it's the act of getting in and just touching that flow, the currents of life around you and in you. Because it's so easy to be linear. We'll call it the 3D, or just checked out. And it doesn't matter what we're talking about. And I'll give you another example. In the morning with coffee, I love coffee. Arrest me, find me, ticket me. But it's an act of appreciation for all. But I usually get a little demi-task for the 3 Native American chiefs, particularly Geronimo. He said a long time ago, fill her up, bub, when I took the coffee pot. And I just burst out laughing, because who uses 1950s fill her up, bub lingo? But there'll be days by 11 or 12 o'clock, and I still have a pot of coffee around that I haven't gotten finished. And I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot to pour the coffee. It just happens. And it tells me, where was that? Going slow, trying to be in the moment, trying to appreciate the day. And so there are so many, even if you tried to do a checklist, you had a written checklist. Vossy gave you a written checklist along with a personalized mantra straight from the Divine Mother, Sai Baba, and Sri Kaleshwar. You might not be able to do it for 100 days straight, let alone 2 days straight. You're going to forget everything. So do you get a lot of humor, or do you crack up at, even in the middle of trying to apply yourself? Are there times where you just shake your head and start laughing?
I have been able to do that more and more. I used to take myself a lot more seriously, and I don't now. I just can't do that. I've changed that, it doesn't work. It's too heavy of an energy. But I can, yes. And really,
Okay.
once you set the intention, then the energy will flow to you, and it will follow you and bring you the circumstances that you need to keep that intention flowing.
And that is a big, I don't know how to do this, whether we're talking Buddhist assemblies of students, monasteries, or gatherings for learning Buddhist techniques, or other schools of, not thought, schools of being, schools of philosophy, religion, stuff like that. There's a huge attempt to go in like it's Navy SEAL training camp, and you've got to own the exercise. And so that you're almost, again, losing the point of letting go and being in your heart. Can you talk to us about, I mean, you may still do this, but would it be 2 hours a day at the peak for meditation at one point, or an hour, 3 hours, and it may still be constant? Where are you? Where were you at the beginning? And you were very serious about it. Not that you're not serious, but that's not the right words. I'll have to do one compliment your way. It's not devout, but just very, you have applied yourself without taking it so seriously that someone else can't relate. I don't know how to say that. I hope that came across the right way. But talk to us about your meditation and other practices, and you have dedicated a lot of time to get you where you are today.
Yes, yeah, it's a lot, but it's so worth it. I mean, I wouldn't go back and change anything about it. It's been really supporting my growth in every level, personally, with my family, my friends. Um, I could not sit still for 15 minutes when I first started meditating. I'm a person on the go. I'm like
Oh my God.
fire. I used to run marathons, so I would always want to be moving and doing things. So I found it very challenging when I went to the ashram to sit and to listen to Swami, and then even afterwards meditate. But I did it somehow. I was there for that purpose. I went ahead and I did it, and I'm sure my focus could have been better, or my just knowing what I was doing. But over time, as I would come home and then practice what it was that we learned or continue with our personal process, I mean, then now I can sit for 6 hours and meditate. And that would probably be on a full moon, because the moon timings, that's why we do pujas on the moon, is because the time of the moon, whether it's new or full, the soul is wide open to receive the cosmic energy, and your chakras are lined up. Everything is right for your soul to grow at that time, to release negative things and to bring in blessings. And so meditating for me now is between 3 hours and 6. On an average night, probably 2 hours, but for the moons it's more. Yeah, but it's just developed. I don't have to force myself anymore. I mean, I didn't really have to force myself before, but I did have to say, yeah, I'm going to sit here and I need to finish this mala of meditation. But the more the energy grows in you, it's like you flow with it. It's not a forced thing. It's just when you set the intention, I'm going to do this and finish it, then the cosmic supports you in completing it.
It's like sitting in a flow. If I can use extra words and flavor, a beautiful ocean current that's right there, shallow water, safe, and just the most wondrous flow of energy. And that's what I just got. So sorry about that. I was closing my eyes listening to that.
That's okay.
And,
Yeah.
the candle, if a person wants to taste it, but in a miniature, not 6 hours, because they may be able to just let go and flow it. But what I'm saying is they can look at a quick candle, safely done, at their kitchen table, but if they're comfortable, play music that you like that's high vibe, Radiohead, Lotus Flower, anything, but let go. The act of letting go is the scariest thing in the world, to be here. No one wants to do it. You don't want to do it at work. You don't want to do it in relationships. You don't want to be honest with yourself. You don't want to even have to get beyond words. It's so much easier to stick to the level of words and linear. So the act of just looking at a flame, I think this has to connect to your puja stuff, but a person can just experience a smidge of this at their kitchen counter if they breathe, but ask for a little extra help. Ask for your soul's help. Ask for your ancestors. asked to just simply get out of what you know long enough to catch an extra something. How about that for a little flame
They can try that, sure.
fireplace?
Yeah, I lit a candle before we started today because we're in the divine energy. So I honor them with the flame and incense, and you can do that anytime. I have the statue of Mother Divine in our home, and that candle is always lit. It
Oh.
honors her presence. It's a peace statue, which many of us have, and she exudes peace. It's very, very palpable. No matter what's been on the TV, when that's off, you can just feel her energy.
You were kind enough to explain or introduce, or whatever the word would be, reference Mother Divine for me. The tiger had come in earlier, not realizing the Mother Divine and the tiger are compadres.
Yes.
With your permission, I'd like to put a couple figures up for you, and either advice from them through you to all of us, or that plus topic, or anything like that. But I'll go back to Sai Baba again before we do a few angels. Sri Kaleshwar, maybe Vishnu, Krishna, Ganesh. Love to do Shiva, but I got to find a drawing of Shiva real fast. Shiva's been coming up for like a year and a half now, and I've never done Shiva yet. But I feel like it's been, there's been a lot of door knocking, and I've not done that yet. Sai Baba, what is a reminder for us all right now?
The reminder that he gives is to have faith and to be patient. To have faith that the divine is working in our lives. The divine is within us, we are divine, and they're also around us working in our lives through our angels, through our gurus, and to have patience with the process of life, to have patience with ourselves, to love ourselves, to have patience with others. Other people don't know that they get stuck with either their own energy or others. They don't know how to decharge. So it's really having a lot of compassion and patience for other people, and for yourself. That's something he would tell us all the time. Faith and patience in your personal process on your soul journey.
I love it. And for faith, I still love, there's a lot of terminology out there. There's a lot of ways people will react and seize on one set of lingo versus others. And faith is a great way just to say letting go, whether it's religious faith or non-religious faith. I'll go the basic way. It's going from here to here to allow for all as it is, and just let your bigger self, your flows, connect to all the flows, because you're already one. It's just the thinking separated you a little bit. I hope I did okay on that.
Yeah, it's to let your soul really be the one that's in charge and not the mind. Put aside anxiety or anything else like that, but know that the soul and the divine part of you is going on the right path, the one you've chosen with your angels and guides.
And here's the very first angel people generally meet. You've met her, Joy, but about laughter and why it's a critical. It might not seem like laughing is anything except that it's a huge flow, and call it joy, call it laughter. What does Joy say to us all?
She's saying to be content within yourselves. Whether it's a joyful moment or not, just to be content with whatever's happening around, to maintain your inner contentment, your inner balance. Don't let that take you off your inner flow.
And do you mind, can you close your eyes and have her bring you Panaconda? But it could be just birds in a tree. It could be the wind there, the trees rustling, some flavor from the place, and just a little reminder of the place. There's an essence. We all have our hometown that we left. Yeah. What'd you get?
Yeah, just the essence of Panaconda, how it was it actually sparkled. There was so much of that radiant energy that Swami held. And then as he walked the grounds and he was breathing, just sharing his Shakti and with everything there. It was really brilliant.
Okay. I had a random 5-digit text message show up as a banner above Sri Kaleshwar's face. So I wanted to make sure that goes away. It might be a weather warning for clouds coming from the north. Charlotte is a teacher who, if you like ancient Egypt, an angel. She'll tell you all about ancient Egypt, blah, blah, blah. But amazing, fun. Yeah, I'm running out of all words. Okay, between Charlotte and Sri Kaleshwar, do you mind going through either answers, experiences, something to share with all of us? I'll try to get the light right on these two. And let me get me out of the way. And my thumb. Hold on. There we go. No thumb, no me. And let's do that. And for folks looking out there, you can let Sri Kaleshwar's photo come more alive, like a broader smile, twinkling eyes. You might even see the eyebrow go up or a little extra wink. You just have to allow in the moment. And then this is what we've been talking about. It's not the way you think it is, because this isn't about thinking. The heart, when the heart gets going, it's like riding a bronco, a bull, whatever it's called. And you get a little extra splash in life. But trust me, thinking's going to come in and put the kibosh as fast as possible. Except for Vossy, who can go 2, 3, 4, 6 hours in the flow, but she's well trained and yet super friendly.
One thing that they're saying is for everyone to have an open heart, especially when you're in spiritual processes. Have an open heart, because your issues will come up and you have to really allow that, love yourself, and allow the flow, work with it, work through it to release it. And in spirituality, when you're trying to better yourself, you'll be tested. Things will come up that will test you, either test your resolve or test your patience. Whatever little blocks you have, you're going to be tested in that. So have an open heart and accept whatever it is that comes your way.
I like that. And that's everything, no matter how ridiculous you think it is, no matter how you're like, my buttons have been pushed.
There's a reason.
Yeah, and it's still an opportunity for an amazing catapult, jumping forward. What's the word? Leap.
It's an opportunity for growth. Yeah.
Yeah.
On some level.
I've got one where I still haven't let go, and I'm having amazing, bigger opportunity than I ever expected. But on runs, she's trying to get me to use, like, this is going to give such the wrong impression, but she's trying to help me get rid of the emotion that's in me by using some curse words in a ridiculous exercise to like shout it out. And I'm so timid on these runs. I'm only getting to, like, on a 1 to 10, I'm only getting to a 5. Like most Americans would be able to like absolutely blare yelling, because, you know, you get your headphones in if you're using it for running and there's cars going by. There's no one's going to hear you. It's just you. You only have to release your emotion with a good yell. And Angel's telling you to do this. I'm still like, whoa. So I'm still resisting. I'm on day 2 of that. And she's just trying to get me to get it off of me to do the final bit of yelling, which I find hilarious, because like she's coaching me and I'm like, I'll say the words very quick, but she's, you know, she's like, that's better. You went from a 1 to a 3. Now you're at a 5. We'll try it again on the next run. To just, like, you know, when you open the windows, you've been working for a bad boss for 10 years. It's Network, that movie. I've mentioned it twice today. You yell, I'm so fed up, I'm not going to take it anymore. And I think everybody in New York City out their apartment windows was yelling it. That's not easy for people to let go of what they know. And they've got a certain structured routine, the way they grew up. And how do you shatter that? How do you let it go, even for just 5 seconds? And that's kind of what we're talking about, is not being any one flow for too long. Because even love has a million different layers and so on. So with that, let's go to another figure, but it's on my phone. Ganesh. Do you mind talking to us about Ganesh? I might find, you get a choice here. Do you like this Ganesh or the first Ganesh? This Ganesh.
I like this one.
Okay. What does Ganesh have for us as a reminder?
To be true to ourselves. Meaning, like, if you know to do something that's right, go ahead and do it. Don't let anything outside of you take you off track. Be true to your inner calling, if you know what that is. Be true to doing what is right and kind for others. He is Divine Mother's sole object. She gave him birth by herself, and he really does help us to wash our negativity, remove ego tendencies. So being true to our soul self and really making an effort to dissolve the ego and allow those tendencies to be taken from us, and also to willingly practice being in a better place when we feel like our ego might want to come through. Just try to, to practice to be the love instead, to bring that through. And it's not always easy. It really isn't. But you have that as an intention. More and more you attempt it, then it can become the way that you are.
And can you allow Ganesh to do a little bit of light for you? I'm going to find another photo, and I need like 30 seconds here, but some form of light interaction around you. If people at home wish to have that, just breathe extra and get out of what you know into your heart. Ask your favorite figures to help you out, or Ganesh, and just get a little bit, at least dusty, like flecks of light, gold or something. And you can just nod if you got it. Each person should get it their way. Although, if you're really gutsy at home, say "sock it to me" and go Disney full effects. If you want butterflies all over the place with colors that can't exist, you'll run to your window and be like, I got to let them out, and they're gone by then. But no limits for miracles. Good luck with that. But on the other hand, here, no limits. Mary, the big Mary, if anybody wants to see rainbow light in their hand, do it. But again, a reminder from Mary to Vossy about, first, you got to get a compliment, 2 compliments. If you want to share one out loud, you don't have to, but 2 compliments to say thank you for being on the show today. And Mary, a reminder for all of us again, she's love and everything we need.
The message from her for today would be to cultivate inner peace.
And that cultivation is there's a million ways to start the cultivating, just even by stopping, shutting off the TV, spending 5 extra minutes outside. Good luck with that. But that's also what you've been doing very meticulously with the hours spent daily on what we'll call mindfulness, meditation, or other words in that
Mantra
direction.
meditation.
Mantra meditation. Thank you. Sorry, taking extra long time here. I am looking for Lakshmi. She's coming in. Here we go. Lakshmi.
Open to the abundance that is everybody's. Abundance is out there for all of us.
And I'm extremely blank right now. Did I already do my guardian angel?
You had done her.
Okay.
A
I'll
couple
still
times.
put her up just in case, but Archangel Michael and Min.
Archangel Michael is saying, be the light for others. Be the change you want to be that light, and be that light for others.
Ooh, can you ask them for flipping that to another way of saying it shorter into a mantra, so that if a person repeats it, they can feel the vibe. They can even put their hand to the screen, play it back, and feel their own vibe go up as they really let go, got into the words, like as if they're at a concert. I love that. People sing to those songs they know so well from their favorite bands. That's the equivalent of a mantra meditation, but active, because they're probably jumping up and down. But the point is, it's still that letting go extra flow that we're capable of. Can we get it another way that says the same thing?
See the light within yourself. and know that you are the light.
Sure.
You can say, I am that I am.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
The tiger. I only know how to say the tiger, and he's action, and he's always around. You can stick your hand out and feel him walk by and feel the fur.
Mother's tiger.
Mother's tiger. Thank you. He'll bring you the smell of, again, jungle. You can hear the roar of the tiger in a beautiful way. Nothing threatening. You won't freak out, but just distant roar to remind you you're present, that it's okay, and to get cracking here on anything.
The tiger can bring gifts too. He's so connected with the mother. He could bring gifts on you. And if, like you said, it's not a scary thing. If he's jumping on you or towards you, it's like, just let it go. Let him land.
That's so funny, because I was just about to say the following expression, but I mean, everyone has to forgive my glibness. But the Barnum and Bailey experience, no one's ever gotten that. At least I've never suggested it, but I got the picture of two paws coming up on your back, like you're Siegfried or Roy. And you can just get like a kind of a big, mauling, nice, gentle hug. You could probably get a lick as well, which no one that I know of has gotten the big swash where you go almost, what? Spiritual lick? What is he talking about on the show? But you can absolutely stick your hand out and feel. Tons of people have done that. You do need to be in your center. Maybe close your eyes. Everyone loves closing their eyes because it makes it easier. And that's totally great. But you can feel them. But why wouldn't you want to get Siegfried, Royd, and a little Barnum and Bailey with two big paws and a lick on your cheek? Good luck with that. Maybe in the morning, first thing, and you don't own pets, so none of the pets are freaking out. You just get a big lick from the tiger saying, begin your day. Okay. Chogyam Trungpa, Tibetan Buddhist monk.
He's feeling to me like he really is describing oneness. Like he wants us all to know the oneness that we are with others, with the earth, with animals, plants, with the divine. We're all one. And that can heal a lot of feelings of fear and separation. There really is no reason to fear. Because everything that we are, we're complete, we're whole in the mother's love, in the mother's womb. We don't really need anything. It's this material life that has taught us that. But as a soul, as a being of light, we have everything that we need. We are everything. That's why Swami said that anyone could become like Jesus or Shirdi Baba, because we all have that potential. It's to develop the potential to cultivate those inner vibrations that are already there, to add more light to what we have.
An angel named Mac, whose nature...
I like Mac.
Yeah, don't call her Mackenzie, but Mac. And here, I'll turn her so you can get her. And if you want to see streaks of light just saying hi out of the peripheral so that you get caught off guard a little, you don't have to say that you saw it, but get a little I don't like the word entertainment, but get a little extra pizzazz for just, because I'm always like, why settle for X when you can have X plus 7? X is absolutely wonderful, by the way, and your heart is X.
I'm feeling like she's saying, just connect more openly, more freely with nature, because it's so healing, just being out in nature. Whether you're under the moonlight, in the sun, under a tree, anything. Receive the healing vibrations of the nature.
Mother Teresa. Great sense of humor.
I'm getting inner joy from her. Just to really hold your inner joy. I think someone else had given a similar message. No matter what's going on around you, hold your inner joy. Contentment was the other one. Yeah.
But Vossy, my problem is, you don't understand my situation. I got 96 kids, 25 dogs, and I've just been laid off 3 times in the last 12 hours.
That's a hard one.
It is. It is. And they're all absolutely fantastically real because that's what you're going through. But there's something more we're pointing towards that's not even us pointing towards, that the universe will always remind you about or give you another chance to remember, if you remember to remember, when you remember to remember. Good luck remembering. Okay, final few here, and we'll go back to just talking. Don't Life Redshirt Geronimo, 3 Native American chiefs. Don't Life is wisdom with some humor, very down to earth. Incredible for breathing. Another one of those when I'm running. Buddha, Chogyam Trungpa, and him, and Sai Baba. Great for helping you be in your lungs, letting go, and really engaging your body.
I try to have more humor in life.
Yes.
Take things more lightly and take things more sporty. That's what Swami would tell us too.
That's spot on. Yay. Red shirt, compassion, gentlest mom in the world. So much fun. So soft spoken.
I'm getting like, have compassion for your inner child. Heal your inner child.
Geronimo. You get the older photo of Geronimo in just a second, but how could no whatever this is complete without a little bit of Geronimo?
Sometimes you have to be tough even on yourself. Tough love.
I love it. And, you know, I've said this about 3 times in 3 episodes in the last 5 or 7 episodes, but I still think it's really funny and important. Some people need to hear things 100 times. You could switch it. It's 10 years you need to hear the same message of letting go and get over it. Sometimes the universe gets so tired of you being on one side of the fence, the lesson, that it just says, okay. And they shove you over the fence and you've got the lesson done. Now you're always going to have 100 more lessons. If you're the type that's a quick study, you're like, oh, I'm going to nail this. I got these 5 obvious lessons, and you're like, done, got it done. You're going to get 17 more lessons. So there's no like getting through the high school of spirituality, learning. Your heart is always going to grow and expand. But so yours truly asked, again, the dumbest question. I'm quite capable. I asked Geronimo, am I a good manifester? Are you sure? And he was just like, sweet Jesus, Mike. Yes. And I just have to do that tone and everything. I mean, he's really entertaining and he just brings you back to reality. Oh yeah, my phone will not turn. So hold on. Here's older Geronimo. Let his eyes come very alive if you're at home. You can get a sacred smell in the air, 1 of 50. Sweetgrass, tobacco, leather, desert pineal, sage, juniper, pine, cedar. You get the idea. What are you smelling, first of all, Vossy?
Copal.
Oh my God, what's copal? Tell us. Is it from India?
No, it's Mayan. It's a Mayan incense.
Oh wow, I never even heard the word before.
Really beautiful. Yeah.
And what's his reminder to everybody?
Stand for what you really believe in and stand for the truth.
Beautiful. Okay, so now let's go back to the big picture. If there were 5, 3, 7, it doesn't matter, pick your favorite number. What are your takeaways for us to not forget? If this is some sort of slideshow, but we're not getting a slide, check. What would be your top reminders to keep it real fun, and to keep it real loose in the sense of don't seize up on yourself, which is what happens when we're adulting. So how are you gonna leave us, wanting the Vossy glass of water here?
Right. Always keep your inspiration. Have your connection with a divine being, and always keep your inspiration, because things will get tough, can bring you down. But that's where having your mantras comes in, you start to feel your ego come up or some kind of negativity, you can chant a mantra and shift that energy in the moment. But always keep your inspiration. Don't let things get you so far off track that, you feel like you're digging a hole for yourself. That's one thing that I've learned that has helped me a lot, is keeping my inspiration no matter how I'm feeling. I might feel kind of ugly for a few minutes, but then I said, no, I've got to get right back up and keep my head up, my chin up, and feel that the connection that I have. That helps the most, is knowing that they're with me, supporting me, and it's all something we have to get through. Clearing our deeper energies. Another thing that Swami would say is, wake up positive, live the day positive, and go to bed positive. So if something comes up during the day and gotten a tough with someone, or just not feeling so great, meditate before you go to bed, try to clear that up, or talk with the person, clear the air so that you can be positive when you go to bed, because you can only attract really good energy if you are a vibrational match. And that's why we say, when you change your vibration, you change your experience, because as you raise your vibration, you're attracting more positive towards yourself, more divine gifts and blessings.
So people can be more aware of how their energy experiences are going during the day, that they can maybe touch water, go for a swim. You're in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. So you've got a lot of beach access, except that I remember living near beaches, and I've always lived near water except for San Antonio. And, we still have rivers here and stuff, but sometimes you can live really close to a body of water and not go for 6 months. You just, in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, I'm at the beach, but I'm not going. It's like an ice cream thing. We've either worked at an ice cream store, or, you've got a friend, they just don't want to go because you're so used to scooping ice cream, you become, immune to it or numb to it. And that's what we do with a lot of stuff. Can you talk to us about water as a technique? Whether it's a shower, swim, touching water, isn't there something to it?
Yeah, water is a very powerful element for transformation, just like fire is. Except water, because our soul has water in it, it's a watery element. Our soul has fire and water, but water is very good at refreshing and cleansing ourselves, especially when we have the intention to be cleared of negativity. And if we use mantras to do that, it's really helpful. One simple mantra people can use in the shower is hum, H-U-M, hum. While you're showering, it just flushes the negativity off of you. And it's not one you have to charge. You can just start using it. It's in the water mantra, which is part of the 5 elements. So water has a really powerful way of cleansing and clearing excess energy, whether it's on your body, in your aura. It really is very helpful. Taking a nice hot bath is also a good way to clear the aura. We do what's called water healings with a very specific high-powered mantra. It's on the website, but water healings are a way of really helping to heal addictions or the deeper negativities that we've carried from lifetime to lifetime without having to re-experience them. The power of the water is that it connects with your soul and flushes it out, washes it out. Within it's like a womb space. When you're in a water healing, you're either in a pool or a hot tub or something. So it's like going back to the womb, both physically and also with the mantra and the intention to clear out of your womb chakra and out of the soul the energies that are really strong and keeping you stuck in whatever situation you're in. It's very good for addictions or depression, situations like that.
And can you just give us a reminder how, it's very physical, very real, all our different situations, relationships, health, job loss, or family loss. You've lost a loved one. But in the end, isn't there a common equation through them all that, in a way, because of the details, because of the physicality of it, because of those energy flows, there's some negativity often that gets attached, we get stuck, and years, decades, maybe 2 lifetimes go by before we actually just let go of something that not everyone could have, like that, they could have let go. But for others, it's days, it's weeks, it's months, it's years. It's a process of assessing and, this. Can you give us a reminder, though, how it's energy at its core I mean, that's almost the basic, is waking up to the concept of there's much more energy going on, and it's not the way you thought it was. That meant you had to be stagnant for 10 years.
Yeah, that's a hard one for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people, what they see is what there is. It's the reality. When there's so much more energy underlying things, and there's so much more that we can't see with our own two eyes that is happening. So a lot of people who are grieving a loved one, I mean, that's natural, but there's also should be a time for it, because holding on to that other person's energy or wanting them back holds their soul from moving on to the next life. You really need to let go with some help, hopefully, some support from somebody who could help you do that, and letting them be free. Their soul needs to be free. People who hold on to things, it normally is lifetimes and lifetimes of being that clenching way. But it really does keep them stuck in everything. It's not something that you can easily let go of. It does take, I think, a lot of practice in doing it, bringing yourself to the point of realizing it, and then asking for help, or keeping even if you keep a diary of what I let go of today, or having a plan to let go of something that you're really attached to. One of the energy mantras that we have is specifically for that.
And you've done enough situations by now. It's not that there won't be something that can catch you off guard. The windsurfing accident where the two sharks got the person, and you had never had that one before. So I'm not trying to be facetious too much here, but my point is there's in a way, there's only so many different scenarios. In another way, you'll never, ever, ever end up not getting some more color in terms of that scenario that you never would have thought even could have existed, and you'll get something new always. But with all said and done, you've had a lot of experience by now, water under the bridge, of different interactions and how to help the person shift their energies to take ownership. And again, can you remind us how you work? Is it usually over months? Is it weeks? It depends on situation by situation, sometimes just one time, or you give them homework for a while.
It depends on the person's situation, definitely. It's where they are with their spirituality, where they are with what's going on in their lives. Some people are helped in 1 or 2 sessions. I've worked with people sometimes over the course of a year, twice a month, just to help remedy the situation. Some things do take longer, because everything is with divine will, way, and timing. Some people have a lot of prayer energy in their soul bank account, and so it's easy to draw from that to help them with the healing. Others don't pray very much, but they're in trouble and they want help. So we've got to get them on a personal process of charging their personal mantra to build that bank account. And it's not in my hands, it's in the divine hands. And I am just facilitating another soul to find a way through it and, relieve themselves of the negativity.
So some people are natural born baseball pitchers without knowing it. So if you give them the little homework assignment and you're like, hey, and they only did 100 of them, whatever the spiritual push-ups are, but it's maybe a mantra you've given them. Some people very quickly can charge the battery up, or the well, or the emotional bank account, and bam, they're just somehow they were inclined to be good at it. Others are so stuck that maybe it's going to take 1,000 efforts and they're still only halfway charged. You're like, you got to go back and keep going a little bit more. Good job, but keep going. So you're good at sensing all that, or are you listening and both? You're sensing it, you're listening.
I would observe them and see where they are and listen to what they're saying, and then, decide from there what course of action to go with them.
Okay. And are there some people who come in and it's only really about, it's not about engaging all that. They're just not going to do that right now. You more help them verbally in a much more tamped down way, or that's just not, you usually get a person jump started one way or the other to get more physically moving in their energy. You know what I mean? There's people who will just give you the answer. They're doing no work. You simply are like, hey, I've got this situation. What are my 3 steps I should do? And we're not addressing any of the energy flows. You're just physically giving them the answers. Do you do any of that, or that was a long time ago, or once in a blue moon?
I do online coaching and counseling. I also do in-person hands-on healing.
Okay.
That's the Sai Shakti healing. It's a little bit like Reiki, but we're using different channels and we use a mantra the whole time. It works with the chakra system plus a few other energy treasure spots that are on the body that are very powerful places for energy to be opened and cleared. And so it could be in person or online. It could be just talking to the person. There's one woman I helped recently who I used the mantra when I was working on her, but at the same time, she would ask a question and she was like pulling for me the answer she needed. It was really, she's a little bit spiritual. And so she received healing for herself and her family without like so much effort. It was really nice.
Do some people hop on the plane to St. Thomas, check in somewhere, and then you work with them that way? Have you ever brought anybody to your group for sort of a group energy thing, or is it more just, do people come to St. Thomas to see you from time to time?
Not as yet.
Okay.
No, not as
So
yet. No,
much
whoever
more online, much more, yeah.
Yeah, for people who are at a distance, I work with them on Zoom. People who are already here, I work in person. You know, unless it's just a day they can't get out, then we work on Zoom. Yeah, so
Awesome. And you're headed back to India at some point, right? This summer, maybe?
possibly. I'm going to the States this summer for a peace process
Oh, okay.
in Connecticut. We have a peace center in Connecticut where we're going to be practicing our peace circles meditations, which I was telling you about. Our teacher who studied directly under Swami is Nadira Siram, and she's the one who's developed the peace circles meditations. It's on my website. It's on her website. They're very powerful. They're global right now. We have people in many different countries in Lebanon, Japan, you know, the US, Europe, who are using this healing system. Very, very powerful.
People can get detail there. And again, that's omcreations.com is your website. Is this, I'm not going to be able to repeat her name, but is she living in Connecticut, or she's also in St. Thomas or other?
Nadira lives in the UK.
In the UK. Okay, got it.
Yes, yeah, right. So when we go to India, we study with her. Was very close with Swami when he was alive. He worked with her specifically. So she is, what he did with her, she is repeating with us and giving us the experiences that is helping to really develop our group.
Well, let's bring Swami in. I'll say it that way for the first time the whole show. Let's bring Sri Kaleshwar in, and let's get a final connection. If you don't mind getting some compliments and a big thank you from everyone. And flowers, if it's okay. Breathe, breathe, breathe for anybody out there. Catch the scent of flowers where you are. If anyone wants to make a fist, okay, you can ask for a mini miracle, a city, whatever you want to call it. Just ask for lots of love. You can make a fist and maybe get a petal or energetic petal made out of light that'll disappear once your thinking kicks in. Good luck if you make it 3 seconds. But wait for your hand to get hot, sparkly. Pick an adjective. It doesn't have to be hot, but spiritual, energy, love, anything you want to call your hand, and allow for at least light in your hand. Pink rose petal from Sri Kaleshwar. What are you going to allow for? But Vossy has words for us from St. Thomas, who's actually met him and does a fantastic job helping others. I must say so myself. I love what she does for people and her presence. But if you could give us words from Sri Kaleshwar, a final reminder for us all.
Be happy. He always wanted his students to be happy. And he's given us the ways of doing that. Because everyone should be happy. There's no need for suffering. There really isn't. I mean, people have their karmas to get through, but it doesn't have to be in a suffering way. And that's what Buddha came here to do, was to help alleviate the suffering of people. And so Swami always wanted his students to be happy, to have true happiness. And he's our best well-wisher. He always helps us. When we dedicate to him, he's there with us all the time, in the dreams, in the waking states, in meditation. So it's to keep that positive love, happiness vibration.
So Vossy, you've had thousands, tens of thousands of hours behind the stick, if we're talking pilot, aviation, flying stuff, which in a way we kind of are. Is it really that easy?
No, it's not easy.
That
He said,
was not expected, but no, so it's not easy, but can it be easy for brief moments? How about that?
there are moments of feeling relief and like the release of pressure or just an opening. Like doing the fire pujas, it puts a whole nother level on your life. It brings harmony because I've been doing them for 14 years here on island, and I got to a point where I just felt like everything was flowing so smoothly. Like, the divine hand was moving this barricade, moving this block. I mean, it's changed from that. It kind of leveled off at one point in time, but it was really, really amazing. It's just level of harmony and cooperation that you get from the divine is amazing. So,
Is it okay to say it this way? How about there's a force that's invisible that wants to put everything in concrete, and then decades can go by. And it's just you've been concreted in one thing or another, whatever we're talking about, external situation, our own flow. And then there's the opposite. We'll call it Disney, love, the universe, and you probably have it's probably a very proper term from India for the great flow. But when that comes in, holy cow, the concrete's gone. Jackhammer. And you're wide open, you're loose, you're open, you're flowing, you're in a miracle itself. This is our final thing. How between these two flows, I think it's okay to say we're trying to remind folks that anytime they wanted to get into the greater flow that exists within as a constant, you just forgot about it. A kid, you knew it as a kid, and yet there's 1,000,001 reasons because of society, business, health, the cousin, what happened yesterday, my car fender bender, what I did to myself, self-worth, self-judgment. I'm not worthy. I could keep going on. There are 10 million reasons why you shouldn't be in that big flow. And then there's also 5 million reasons or just one reason. I love what Geronimo said. Millions of questions, one answer. So talk to us about that dynamic and why this isn't about any one cultural anything, but it's why all the cultural stuff exists as an arrow to help us get to here, and why you've got some amazing steps, systems. I don't like any of those words, but the mantras, the mudras, the yantras, the puja, the this, the that, to get us to pay attention to more and to let go more and to allow the awareness to grow. Can you do a final encapsulation of what's the contrast called again? There's a lot of talk of those two, the duality. Did I get that? I think it's the duality.
Yeah, it's duality.
Okay.
In this illusion, there is duality. So it's perceived duality. I mean, really, there's only oneness. And, like I had said before, Swami accepted anyone from any religion to be at his ashram. His religion was the religion of love. So all of us is here on a spiritual path, whether we know it or not. And a lot of people don't acknowledge source. A lot of people do, but even with him, he said he had to find the right angle to reach somebody. He had to find that right in that would like make him click and say, oh yeah, I am a soul. I'm not just this person. My mind isn't in control. It's all about the divine who are in control of us anyway. None of us are the doers. So we all need to find what clicks with us. It could be just being out in nature and meditating in nature. It could be finding a really specific guru and working with that system, a really unique type of meditation or prana yoga. Find something that really works with you, that you feel is bringing you that completion, that joy and happiness, and can help you go through your blocks at the same time. In one of the books that Sri Kaleshwar wrote, The Real Life and Teachings of Jesus Christ, in the beginning of the book is a block wash mantra that anyone can just start using. It's to wash your blocks. And he lists all the 12 types of blocks that most humans have that keep us from actualizing ourselves. So it's all about walking on the earth, but knowing that we are a soul, a light being, and not this human flesh that we have come in as. This is just the vehicle to get us to our destination.
And that book is available on Amazon today still.
Yes. Yes.
What's the title one more time for us?
The Real Life and Teachings of Jesus Christ.
By Shri.
It's what happened. Yes, by Sri Kaleshwar. It's what really happened with Jesus beyond what any church might say, because Jesus gave Swami the information to write in book form so that we would have the truth.
I think in his interview with Alan Steinfeld, he talked about it wasn't samadhi because that would be the final, except not. He talked about taking time though to sit with the ascended master. So he must have been meditating for a really long time.
He did take samadhi to do that.
Oh, that's right, because he had a doctor standing
Good.
next where the
Yes.
heartbeat goes almost to nil, but you're not dead, you're not crossing over, but he, oh my God,
Yeah, the body's out.
yeah, he
He's
went to the
left his
big
body
conference.
completely.
Yeah, he
He
went to
did.
the big conference in the sky, hung out, and came back with no reasonable explanation at a societal level, but he still did it.
Right.
That doctor was peeved. That doctor's not one of the ones who founded the school then in California, is he? He is? It's that, yeah, so he's one of the ones. Did he marry the other woman? I don't know. But they're co.
They just run that, right?
Got it. So
for the rectors.
It's a good documentary interview because he's in it. Some others are in it, and so on. So anyhow, probably the classic cast of characters. But there was a really beautiful point where he got to hang out with the ascended masters. I don't usually use that phrase, but he hung out with different folks and exchange
Different saints in the lineage, yes.
Yeah.
Making sure he could continue with what he was doing and give us more of the knowledge and the processes to help us more deeply.
Absolutely the last point here, but can you remind us all that even with all the terminology, the lineage, the India thing, because for some people traveling is a really big deal, and yet the distance you're encouraging people to travel is just letting go of the structure to get to here, that no time is a bad time to start. And you can fill in the rest. If you could just remind us that that is
it's whenever you're ready. The time is now. I mean, people should really begin doing that, especially with the ascension process underway. It's really important to be on the side of the light or not. So find that little activity that really brings you peace. You could do yoga first and then meditate. Sit out in nature. Get involved with other 5 elements processes like fire pujas, water healings, walking meditations. It's all really doable, and do different, and get involved with the different activities every day. Make it a lifestyle. Okay,
I lied. Very last thing is right. What's your last bit of advice that to keep it real, that's very unexpected from you, that you didn't even know you were going to give us this advice? What's the simplest reminder straight from Vossy and St. Thomas? I'm buying you time. What's your last bit of advice to just don't worry too much? None of this is too formal. You can do it.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Be happy.
Exactly.
There's nothing to worry about, really. There's nothing to worry about. We're all taken care of.
Yeah,
we
it's not about
realize it. We don't sense us. Yeah, we don't sense it.
Good. Good. Well, thank you very much. VASI Therese Rose Lopez, coming from us, St. Thomas Island, U.S. Virgin Islands, who's done a lot of work on herself, but is able to help others. A healer in many different modalities. Thank you for sharing so much time with us today on Angels, Positivity, and Love. You've been a wonderful guest and so patient. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. It's been my pleasure, and I feel really honored and privileged to be on this show. Thank you so much for sharing this.
The honor is here, and thank you for spending so much time with us and for sharing so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I hope we can do this again. Okay.
Yes, I'd love to have you on next year again. To everyone, thank you for watching the show. This has been VASI Therese Rose Lopez. PsiOmCreations.com is her website. Please check her out.
All right. Peace to everyone.